listening to the Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast.
It's Thursday. It's a beautiful evening outside in old Mordor, Pennsylvania. The crickets are chirping. I'm sure the birds will be squawking. Cars will be flying by. Let's see what happens on this wrestling podcast. That's right. It's a wrestling podcast, allegedly. It's the Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast, and we have, once again, the thing that I am best at in the world, botching picks. That's right. It's a picks episode. Surprise, surprise. We've got lots of shows this month, and I think we're going to round out the quarter here with some AEW, which means only one thing. There is but one man. One bright, shining star in the sky that can bring us the joy of the Cruiserweight Championship. There is one man who all of our hope rests upon. The man who can deliver us out of the dark times, out of the evil that is the Shannon household. There is one man who can save us from ourselves, and that's Beef the Legend. All of our trust, all of our faith, all of our hope rests on you. No pressure. AEW picks. I'm McRansom, the dumb face. Tiger Bomb Tom is here. Poot the Bard is here. Hopefully, the returning Cruiserweight champion, come next week, is also here, and that is Beef the Legend. We have AEW picks to do. I'm here for fun, because let's face it, I'll never hold the Cruiserweight Championship again. I don't know why I'm on this. I said this to the guys before. I don't know why I'm on this podcast. Basically, I'm on this podcast to do the intro, lob up some questions for people to answer, introduce some maybe hot button topics, and make the occasional noise. That's the only business I have on a wrestling podcast. Yet, they still keep me around, probably because they're too lazy to call for a vote to have me kicked off. Gentlemen, let's go ahead and talk about AEW so that I can show you just how little I know about wrestling.
AE Dubs. Oh, I'm sorry. Go.
Push ruined it.
Starting already.
You ruined it. I started talking. You started talking. You go.
I know what it's like to lose, to feel so desperately that you're right, yet to fail all the same. Dread it. Run from it. Destiny still arrives. And this Saturday night, I do as well. AEW All Out 2024, your last pick of the quarter. And just in case you mathematicians aren't up on it at home, let me run it by you real damn quick. Cruiserweight standings up to the minute, provided by Mountain Dew and Cocaine. What a fresh high as Mountain Dew and Cocaine. Leading the pack.
What the fuck?
Tony Khan is bringing the stats to us?
Beef the Legend, 135. Followed closely by Amber at 130.
Crap.
Pat at 127. Poot at 126. These are our horses in the race, folks. All due respect to our brethren on the podcast. I'm not going to use the phrase mathematically eliminated, but I give them the Cleveland Browns chance in the playoffs. We do have Dave trailing at 120. He could make some noise, maybe. Tom sitting at 115.
Nope.
Ransom at 113.
Out.
Scoob with a return to form at 70. Welcome back to
Scoob.
I think the only person that did worse on NXT No Mercy than me was Scooby, because he was messaging me like as the show was going on. So.
Was he?
Yeah.
What now? Did he realize his picks, and did he realize the folly of his ways, or did he go like fuck?
The latter of the two.
Oh, okay.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. I mean,
I banked on the wrong TNA person winning.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
NXT saved my bacon. I came through in the clutch with 18 points, and the next highest total was 12. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, the next highest total was Pat with 13. Wesley screwed a lot of people.
Yep. Chase U
and
fucked
Chase
me big
U
time.
as well.
Fucking
Yep.
Chase U. Like,
If it's one thing as a wrestling fan I've learned over the last 4 years, you never trust Ridge Holland. Whether you're betting on him, whether you're in the ring with him, whether you're a tag team partner, you never trust Ridge Holland.
okay, so
Oh.
I gotta get this out there. Picks aside, and you know, all the cruiserweight crap aside, I think they could have actually given this a little bit longer before they had Ridge turn. I don't like the hot potatoing bullshit. I hate the fact that Chase U gets the titles for like a week or two, and then immediately drops them back to somebody else. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. That's aside from the cruiserweight stuff.
I
I liked Ridge's promo on NXT, and it made it make sense for me. I too initially thought that it was a bad move. That's why I kind of second guessed myself, but not really. You know, when Ridge did his promo on Tuesday, he talked about how he believed in Chase U and gave everything he could for Chase U, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, only for Andre Chase to lose the title. And he did. You know, Andre was the one that got pinned, and that's why Ridge turned.
Right, but I'm saying they could have dragged it out a little bit. They didn't have to fucking do it 2 weeks after the fact. Like, come on.
I get that. Let's not ignore the fact that I think that Chase U is a much better chaser than a champion.
Chase U chasing.
Yeah, I didn't fucking think about that. I just mean like in terms of like how they're perceived. They're the lovable losers of NXT.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm saying. Is like I wish they would have let them have the titles just a little bit longer, like even a month, a couple more
riddle me
weeks.
this: what happened when they finally gave Barry Horowitz some wins?
He stopped being over.
Yep, people stopped caring because he stopped being the lovable loser.
There's
You know what happened when they what happened when they really leaned into Gilbert?
It got
People
old.
stopped caring because he stopped becoming a lovable loser. Here's the thing with lovable losers: they're believable until they start winning. If you give a lovable loser a winning streak, at that point, by definition, they are no longer a loser.
Well, and the
Do
more
they lose their lovability? Maybe, maybe not. But
well, then don't.
well, what you can do with that too is when they do get a win once every, you know, like Brigadoon showing up once every 100 years, they get that. They get that win, and the crowd explodes, and no one out there goes, "Yeah, give this guy more." They you let it go, and then he goes back to losing, and then you get maybe one or two of those in the lifespan of a gimmick like that. You know what I mean? Because then you become, what was the chinless wonder?
James Ellsworth.
Yeah, James Ellsworth. Then you become James Ellsworth.
Yeah, I'm just saying, then maybe you don't have to book them like lovable losers. They can still be faces, but you can actually fucking get them over and make them seem legitimate. Like, I don't know.
That's when the heel turn happens, man.
For those of you following along at home on your bingo cards, Brigadoon is a musical written in the 40s. Was a movie in like the 50s era. Poot, I don't know where you get these references from, my man, but I hope they continue to come. Because
it's from the 40s. Poot is fucking 80. Go figure.
Nothing offsets my minutes of pontification and the ramblings of Ransom like a Putin non sequitur from the 1930s.
Sorry, what?
I'll tell you what, you heard me. All right, let's talk picks and then.
Shut up, Brittany. I don't have any high shoes.
Bless you.
Where's the damn? I don't even have the card up.
I got the card.
What is the card? No,
Where's the damn camera?
we'll do the
He has
we'll
the
do the
internet,
picks.
Tom. He can pull it up.
Well, apparently
We'll
not.
do the picks. I'm here. Well, if I could get into word in edgewise, which I know is a lot to ask on a Thursday night.
Oh, for
I'm
you,
sorry.
yeah.
Did you?
Of anyone.
Jesus
Did
Christ.
you? I'm not going to call Beef out on many things, but did you just?
I did.
Okay,
For the
all right. I
lulz,
mean, the audacity on you.
for the laugh, and you folks did not disappoint.
Lord.
Yeah, we'll
He's a
get to the
liar
picks.
and
We'll do some talk.
never mind.
I am a liar. I am a thief. I am a cheat. I will cheat to win, baby. I will do everything in my power to bring that Tuesday title home because it is where it belongs.
He'll do everything except
Within
come
the
out on a
four
Saturday night with his friend and get it from him in person. Oh.
That's right. That's right. All right. So here are our picks for All Out.
I'm going to piss on the title.
Going in the order of the website and not what I have them set up as. Will Ospreay defends the international title against Pac. Pac. I always call him Pac. I don't know why I call him Pac. It's Pac. The Young Bucks defend their tag team titles against the Blackpool Combat Club as Claudio and Wheeler. Willow Nightingale takes on Chris Statlander in a Chicago street fight.
What?
Yep. In Chris's corner is obviously going to be Stokely, so
That'll be a
shenanigans
thing.
and chicanery. Yep. Kazuchika Okada defends the Continental Championship against 3 TBDs. More on that later. I'm not even going to go into the fucking names until we talk about them. MJF takes on Daniel Garcia in the dreaded singles match. Mercedes Moné defends against Hikaru Shida for the TBS Championship, where Camille is banned from ringside. Danielson defends his title, his newly minted AEW World Championship against Jack Perry, because apparently Jack Perry can't defend the title twice in a month, or else the world will collapse. And Swerve Strickland takes on Adam Hangman Page in a unsanctioned lights out steel cage match. If things weren't going to be insane with these two before, boy howdy. Has the last
Someone's
24
gonna
hours
die.
given us? Boy, howdy! Has the last 2 hours given us something to be excited about? If you remember, if I'm remembering correctly, I believe Full Gear 2023 was their last singles match, where the Hangman took some of Swerve's blood and spat it out at him. I might be embarrassed. It may have been Swerve doing that to Hangman. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, that's where that happened. And everybody caught all the flack. And yet it has created diamonds from these two. So, those are our matches. We have 8 of them to pick tonight. So, Poot, what do you want to talk about?
What I want to talk about? Wrestling.
I mean, who do you want
Mother
to go first?
Harmer.
Ransom.
Ransom, we're going to start with Mercedes Moné versus Hikaru Shida for the TBS Championship. Who you got? How many points?
I'm going to say Mrs. Ed for 4 points. Bring your
This guy.
straw and peanuts, because she going to be feasting at the feed bag.
What?
Yeah, I'm not afraid to say it. Horseface.
Oh shit.
I'm just confused. That's all. It's
Why? For
fine.
what?
I know. I just don't know how. I don't know. It's not a discussion for this time or place, I suppose. But like the fact that you don't think that Mercedes Renee is pretty, and that some of the women that you that you have said that were attractive in the past have I don't know. Like it just seems to me like your
Go ahead.
belief of
Yes?
her being a good wrestler or lack thereof impacts your belief in her being a good-looking person, which are two different things.
I don't. She could be not a wrestler and executive. And I could see an advertisement for her company on Facebook, and I would still go, no. No.
I mean, like I said, beauty, beauty
You know,
order and all that.
I think have an eclectic taste in the female persuasion as well, because you know,
I do.
neither here nor there. But at the end of the day, all that matters is, the last season of The Mandalorian, she had like one word on screen, and that made me happy because she's as good an actor as she is a wrestler, which is terrible.
Just both barrels. Tom, who you got?
Yeah, suck it easy.
Mercedes for 7 points.
7. I'm going with Mercedes, obviously. I would love it if Hikaru Shida were the one to snap her reign. I think that
Snap her neck.
Shida is like the closest thing that AEW has to a first ballot Hall of Famer that was like made in AEW. I think that she's one of the only success stories coming out of well, that's not true. MJF, I guess, is in that boat as well. But like one of the few
Wow, really?
success stories.
Wow.
Really? I mean,
Like,
I'm not.
Exclusively, like I'm not talking
Okay.
about the elite who made their digs in AEW.
So you're talking about homegrown AEW
Correct.
success stories.
I was-
I'm still a little
Exactly.
surprised that there's that few.
I mean, who else you got? MJF, I guess Daniel Garcia.
Darby
if you want to
Allin.
consider that.
That young
Jack
up and comer
Perry.
Chris Jericho.
Jack is another one. I mean, I think that we can quantify Britt Baker as a failure at this point. She's
I
got
would-
nothing to
really?
backslide.
What about Wheeler
Oh my
Yuta?
God.
Wheeler Yuta.
Yeah, I guess we. Yeah, all right.
They've used him very
I'll
well.
give you Wheeler. Yeah, you're right. So I guess.
But
I guess
you
it's
think
not
Britt's
as,
a
like,
failure though at this point?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
Her
that's a
match
shame.
with Mercedes was atrocious. And again, I will be the first to admit, as a
Dang.
Mercedes fan, that that she has taken several steps back in terms of like how good she was in the ring.
Oh,
Well,
that's
she
think
hadn't
something.
that-
wrestled in a long
um,
time.
I think it's ring rust, and I don't like this whole like I'm an important wrestler, so I only wrestle 4 times a year bullshit. Like, no thank you.
The Brock Lesnar effect.
Yeah, like if you're Brock Lesnar, or you're a
you ain't
fucking
no Brock
maniac
Lesnar.
machine. You can pull that shit off. When you're Mercedes Moné, who again at her peak, I think had a sloppiness quotient that I was able to go, okay, I'll deal with that because I
Mhm.
think that she had a lot of great innovative maneuvers that were really cool that nobody else was doing in the women's
What a
division.
maneuver!
Now, I think the women's game has stepped up insanely over the last 5 years. Obviously, I'll say this to their credit, because of her, Bailey, Becky, and Charlotte. Those 4 women have trailblazed, and I think given a birth to this generation of women now wrestling who have no limits. And yes, I think that the other half of that is like the Stardom era as well. Your Tony Storms, your Io Shirai's, your Asukas, like the Japanese quotient absolutely was there as well. So I think a mishmash of those two things have given us a different breed of women's wrestler. But all of that is a long way of saying I think that Mercedes has backslid from a little bit of a 50-50 slant now because she thinks that I'm an important deal. I don't need to wrestle all the time. Well, you only get better at what you do by doing it more often. So I think she wins. I think I would like to see Hikaru Shida beat her, honestly, because again, I'll say it again. I think that she is one of the homegrown AEW talents that has been one of the biggest success stories. And she has carried that women's division through some real fucking tough times. So if anybody deserves the nod, the rub, it's Hikaru Shida, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be Mercedes Moné. I'm picking her for 6 points. Poot?
I'm going to agree with you. I think they kind of got to start leaning into her and like making her feel like she's got to start working a little bit more. Even if everything you said, like I'm not just going to regurgitate what you said. Like that's about the cut of it. But I think she's not done yet. I am going to go Mercedes Moné 7 points.
I hope that Camille is the one to beat Monet because I think Camille has the look, has the talent, and I think has the charisma to be the person to beat Monet. I don't know how long it takes, but I want this like weird like MJF Wardlow-esque relationship to kind of turn on his head, and I want to see Camille beat Mercedes, hopefully sooner rather than later. Uh, Speaking of people that aren't losing anytime soon, Will Ospreay defends against the international championship match. Tom, you get the pleasure of starting us off with the Ospreay pick here.
6 points, Will Ospreay.
I got Ospreay
Okay.
7. He lost one time. And that's more than I thought he would lose in his first year. So yeah, Ospreay 7 points. Next, Poot.
Oh, Ospreay. Next, I'm gonna compound that, and I will say Will Ospreay 8 points. Ain't Jack Pitt like no.
All right, Ransom.
No.
Max points on Ospreay.
That would be the 8-pack, sir. Young Bucks, Young Nicholas, and Matthew Jackson take on the Blackpool Combat Club, Claudio and Wheeler. Apparently, I don't know if Mox is not in the Blackpool Combat Club or if he's just kind of doing his own lone wolf thing right now. I don't know if Pac is suddenly like in the Blackpool Combat Club without like an official like ceremony. It seems like Daniel Bryan. Fuck, man.
Master of Ceremonies, Daniel
burns.
Bryan.
That one still burns. Bryan Danielson. I don't know. It seems like Danielson is still there, but he's like, "Hey guys, I'm here. Aren't we happy?" So it's kind of weird. I like the Bucks for 5 points just because they just put those 6-man straps on the BCC. And I don't like this. There's been no build up to this match. There's no build up to why the Bucks should lose here. I think that this whole like Renegade Moxley thing probably leads to the Elite getting, their comeuppance, but it's not there yet. We're in the opening throws. So give me the Bucks 5 points. Poot.
Every time a Bucks match comes up,
Here we go.
it's not even a 50-50 fucking shot for me. Whatever I choose is what will not win. The best I can do is take Beef down with me. 6 points on the Young Bucks.
I was gonna ask you to take just take a bullet for the team, man, to bring the championship home. But you're more concerned with seeing my fall. So
no, it's not concerned about it's not concerned about seeing your fall. I'm just like, well, it's if I bet on the other one, it's not going to be taking a bullet for the team. It's just like, well, okay, I guess maybe sorta. I don't know. Fuck. That's pretty much it. Every time a Bucks match comes up, it's just fuck.
Okay.
Mr. Anthem.
What is this match?
Young Bucks and the Young Bucks versus Claudio and Wheeler for the tag team titles.
And keep
For the tag team titles.
Yes, the regular AEW Tag Team Championship. And keep in mind that which of the three just won the trios? Was it Wheeler, Claudio, and Pac?
And Pac. Yeah, Pac.
Yeah.
Damn it, Pac. Yes.
So, I mean, that would be weird, right? To have those two be regular tag team champions and then also the trios tag team champions with the addition of popcorn.
Pop popcorn.
Pack, which I think at some point they split from the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team championships as well, which I was like, oh, this is a great thing. They combined them, and now they're fucking split again. I don't know.
Wait,
It's
they're
fucking weird
split
and
again?
stupid, and I think so. If I recall correctly.
Wait, which one split? The trios?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because didn't the
Okay.
Bang Bang Gang
Yeah,
unify them?
No, yeah, they did, but now Dustin and the Von Erichs are the Row
What
Trio
the fuck are
champions.
the Von? God, fuck the Von Erichs, man. Who cares? Jesus Christ. What
Fucking
the actual
fuck
fuck is
yourself.
happening in wrestling right now?
So much.
Hey.
Tom had so much disdain
Hey.
for the Von Erichs.
No, it's just-
Hey.
so much
All right,
disdain.
all right.
So,
I can-
hold on. So much disdain for shit that doesn't make sense.
I can clear this up.
Please.
Prior to All In, AEW had residency in Texas, meaning that they did I don't know, 6 or 7 weeks of television that wasn't Dynamite there. They did Collision, they did Rampage, they did Ring of Honor. Basically, all their tape stuff was out of Texas. I don't know if it was all in one time or if they did it across a few weeks, but it was out of the same building, the same setup. So I think that's why they gave the Von Erichs their moment, is because they ran out of Texas for a fucking month.
Well, good for fucking them, but Jesus Christ,
Man,
we
I
already
hate
have-
it.
We already have 18,000 fucking titles in AEW. God
I
almighty.
know.
Also, I fucking
know,
hate it
man.
whenever I go into the kitchen and I run out of Texas.
Okay, Poot.
Is
There are times.
are the Von
There are
Erichs?
times, man.
Do they have their own promotion in Texas, or
I don't
they're just
think so.
from Texas,
It's
and
just the
that's
fact-
why they did that?
Just the fact that
Yeah.
they're from Texas. The Von
Oh,
Erichs.
okay, all right. I
Yeah,
got you.
They're
historically.
from Hawaii. Fuck them.
Okay.
Oh, my heavens.
I was gonna say historically, all the back in the territory days, back in the territory days, the Von Erichs were the people in Texas area. So
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, okay. I'm up to speed now. That's okay. Good. All right. So 6 points, Young Bucks.
Yep.
None of my picks matter. I don't care.
5 points on the Young Bucks, so we don't have to ever speak another word about the Von Erichs in the rest of this podcast.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
heavens!
Said-
It's not
That's like
they're
Ric
Goldberg.
Flair. That's like
Sorry,
beef Ric Flair level disdain, man.
Rewind that. You said Bucks with how many points?
5 points on the Bucks.
5. Okay. Got it. I was
Buck.
mastering a couple things there. Okay. Yeah. So
Dating.
that's the last thing that we're gonna talk
Yeah.
about the Von Erichs for, apparently. Willow Nightingale takes on Chris Statlander with Stokely Hathaway in a Chicago street fight. Pootski.
Yuck. A street fight. I don't know, man. When these two they had a match recently, correct?
Yes.
Was it? It was
at all out.
Statlander came out on top on that, didn't she?
It was
No.
a tag team match at All Out. It was Willow and Ishii versus Statlander and Stokely.
Willow came
which,
out on that.
The
allowed
winner-
her to choose the Chicago street fight. They did have a singles match earlier, I think. Let me see.
I feel
at Forbidden
okay. Yeah,
Door.
go ahead.
No.
Yeah.
Actually, no. It was another
so
tag.
that was Willow
No.
and Cam versus
that was
Kristen. Yeah. And,
Yeah.
was there a match? Was Double or Nothing? Maybe. Now we're in the fucking Wayback Machine here.
Nope.
Hot Tub Time Machine.
Unless it was a
No.
pre-show. Unless it was a pre-show match that we didn't pick. So
No, Mercedes faced Willow, and that's when Chris Statlander turned her. So this is their first singles match.
Statlander.
Yeah, okay. All right. Interesting.
There can only be one Statlander. Nothing for a Highlander reference. Okay.
Then
Be only one.
I don't feel crazy confident in this, but I feel like this kind of thing. I'm gonna put 2 points on Statlander, just because like the environment, like Beef said, Stokely Hathaway shenanigans. I feel like I'm feeling Statlander, but not crazy confident about it. 2 points.
Ransom?
Statlander for 2.
Tom?
I feel like for some reason, maybe not on the pay-per-views, but I feel like Statlander's been getting the better of Willow a lot of the times for one reason or another, if I'm remembering any sort of stuff correctly, and I may not be at all. I feel like we'll get somebody that comes out to help Willow, and it'll kind of be some sort of return for somebody. So I'm going to put 3 points on Willow.
3 on Willow. Okay. Yes, like it feels like Statlander's gotten the better of her, but like in those 2 matches we just talked about it for Bindor and All Out, Willow has stood tall. Hold on, sorry.
Calculating.
No, I'm handling a couple things. So I mean, Statlander has taken the loss the last couple times. I think that she needs a win here, to at least make it, believable. It's a street fight, which is a very heel match. So I like Chris Statlander here. I'm also putting 2 points on it. MJF nope, not anymore. MJF faces off against Daniel Garcia in a match. They had a nice little bit of promo last night where Max very calmly and rationally hit Garcia as he was rushing up to him with a wine bottle, and as he was on the ground bleeding, said that he was going to send him to paradise.
Yep.
Which you can take however you'd like, but that to me feels like it's a little bit of a shot, I think, at some things, given his contract negotiations. Has he signed? Has he not signed? Whatever the case would be.
Has who signed? Bring me up to speed, because I don't know shit.
Daniel Garcia.
I'm gonna need you to dumb that reference down for me, Beef.
Yeah, please. For the two guys that don't know shit about AEW.
So basically, it was Daniel Garcia. Like, pretty much people are anticipating him going over to WWE.
Yeah, I gotta step away a minute. Do what you need to do.
That's pretty much the long and short of it. Is like, I think he's not working on an extension, but like they're trying to like come to a deal with him, and I think up until recent memory, he has not really been used effectively. He kind of fell by the wayside. He had the little dance, like people do the dance, like that's cool. It got a little viral nod, but it's one of those things that he's a really good talent, and he's young, and he's got a lot of potential. And I think he had, like, because he was not happy with how he was being used, he was looking to go to WWE, and like contract negotiations have been going on. And that's why MJF saying that I'm going to send you to paradise. That's basically what he was getting at. People read into it and went, oh fuck, okay, so this could be the, get out of here, go out on your back and head on to, the quote unquote promised land. Now we need to, and I was thinking about this, I was kind of ruminating on this today. We need to also remember how good MJF is at working the internet wrestling community and people who listen. Like, people hang on his words and listen for stuff like this. So there is that factor. So it's kind of like one of those things with a grain of salt, but like a really grain of salt, because I feel like he does these things to set up like things like that happening. So that's kind of the not a TED talk, but a talk on it.
See, I hear you. I think it gives me pause too. Like, I don't know. Just that line really, it's tough for me to tell on that MJF line. Like, is he really on his way out? And is that kind of like a dig? Or, have they come to some sort of agreement and MJF is just working, like you said, just working the people, working the smart marks, working the internet wrestling people. Like, it's so fucking hard to tell with MJF. Like, because, I mean, honestly, I think it's a toss-up. It could be a toss-up. It could be a work. It could be a shoot. With MJF, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, and that's why MJF is still, a generational talent, because he has the ability to have us have that discussion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
I think MJF should be the internet champion because he's fucking perfect at working the internet.
I mean, then you also have to take into factor too, like, MJF just lost at All In. Do you have him lose 2 matches in a row? Now, you could make the argument that it doesn't matter, even as a heel, whether or not you lose, as long as you maintain that heat. Like, and MJF has no problem maintaining that heat. He can come back. Theoretically, he could lose this match, and then he could come back out on, he could come out on Dynamite the next week and, draw heat by doing whatever. Who knows? But I don't know. Like, it's one of those things, like, if they haven't really, like, besides the Ring of Honor Pure Wrestling Championship, which is that even a thing anymore? Like, who the hell has that?
Yes.
Yeah, it's still a thing.
Is that, I think that might still be Yuta or Shibata? I'm not 100% sure, but yes, it is still a thing.
Okay.
Shibata.
So, I mean, like, besides him having that, like,
it got me.
They haven't done, like, a whole lot with him. You know what I mean? Like, they haven't given him any, like, bigger significant push. So they haven't then. Why start now? Especially if there's, like, end of contract talks coming and stuff like that, or have been happening or whatever. I don't know. But either way.
So, like, what?
Lee Moriarty is the current Pure champion, which is pretty awesome. He's got some ties to this area.
Oh, Dr. James Moriarty. What's your take on, like, is that an MJF work beef? Or do you think, like, it's a legit shot? Like, okay, well, you're out, so I might as well just, take some on-screen digs.
So here is my only concern. Like, if that was MJF working the people, like, it'd be pretty weird for him to refer to the other company as Paradise, right?
I mean,
if Daniel Garcia is thinking, like, well, I'm going to move on to bigger and better things, and everybody is thinking that, WWE is the promised land nowadays with Triple H in charge, I don't know why, tongue-in-cheek, MJF wouldn't say, like, I'm going to send you off to Paradise, like, as a, like a dig,
facetiously. Yeah.
That's
Right.
it. That's it.
I
Or do you
I don't
not
think
think that he would mention?
no. I think that would definitely be an MJF thing to do. And I guess like the tongue in cheek, yeah, that makes sense. At the end of the day, I don't think Daniel Garcia is going anywhere. I think when AEW signed Swerve to that big contract, and WWE was like, "Fuck, we wouldn't have paid that for him." I think that kind of shows you, for what it's worth, I think the WWE is in the wrong for that. I think that Swerve Strickland, like WWE, is always looking for like the next, you know, with all due respect, the next big, like, insert minority here, like your next big Latino sensation, your next big, black guy. I think that Swerve Strickland absolutely caught the niche for that audience. And he's cooler than the other side of the fucking pillow. I think he's worth every cent that AEW invested in him, and I think he's a main event star for years to come. So that being said, for WWE to scoff in WWE, like, oh, we wouldn't have paid that. It was a very, like, when I read that report, I'm like, that's a very Vince McMahon thing to do and say. But the bottom line here is that Tony got the pocketbook. So, like, Tony's going to outbid WWE on every single person. It's a matter of whether they want to.
Even to a fault.
Exactly. To a fault. I.e. Keith Lee. So, like, and again, I love
Did they with
Keith
Jade,
Lee.
though?
What's that?
With
Did
Jade?
did WWE outbid AEW with Jade, or did Jade say, I'd rather go here and hedge my bets?
I don't think it was a money situation with Jade. I bet you AEW still probably offered her more money, but I
Okay.
think that Jade saw a bigger star on the horizon. I think that Jade is not long for wrestling. I think that she wants to transition this into other facets, and I think that she
Endeavors.
saw so I think that she saw that that a WWE run as a more easier springboard than that.
And
Okay.
I wouldn't fault her for that. Like, she's not wrong. Like,
No,
just
not at all.
just look at.
Get yours.
Well, I mean, look at what it's done for the career. Now, granted, I mean, some of the names I'm about to mention are literally, like the generational talents. Look at what it did for The Rock. Look at what it did for Cena. To a lesser degree, look at what it's been doing for Batista. Like, he's been getting in, his like Hollywood career and stuff like that now. Like, fucking even I think even Wade Barrett is been in some. I think he's in something with Batista as of late or whatever. And I mean,
not. You can say. I think it's fair that you say Batista.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah. Well, I mean,
he's been in some of the biggest Marvel movies. Like, come
Yeah.
on,
Mhm.
you ain't no slouch if you're in an Avengers or a couple Avengers films and some standalone Guardian of the Galaxy films. Like, you're no slouch.
right. I'm saying,
Yep.
but besides those ones, I'm just saying, like, there's he hasn't been doing it for quite as long as Cena and Rock have been doing it, but he's done well for himself, obviously. Like, Guardians aside, I meant, like, besides that, the others, like same thing, like with Cena. Like, I don't look at like The Marine as like, oh man, what a great Cena film, but like,
Yeesh.
but he's done he's done a lot of other things.
I mean, been in more films than I have, so
oh yeah,
Yeah. That's
Well-
it, man. That's it.
let's not dig into it, Tom.
Bottom line here is that I think
Only
that
fans know
Garcia
about
has
that.
I think that Garcia has a bright future ahead of him. Regardless of where he goes, I think that Tony realizes that and has a better financial situation than WWE. That's not to say
Yeah.
that AEW is more profitable than WWE, but Tony Khan, the person, has more money than TKO, the company.
Yeah.
So, that being said, who fucking knows? It's MJF. He's off. He's out of pocket all the time. So like,
Yep.
who knows with MJF? Like, it's either all the work or none of it is. Like, who fucking knows with him? Anyway, back to Ransom on this pick. Sorry for the extended delay there, fellas, but I appreciate you. Oh, I appreciate you sticking with me. Ransom, who
Well,
you got
boy.
here, MJF for Daniel Garcia?
Oh,
Sounded like a he sounded like a Muppet stuck in a wall for a second.
He sure
Yeah,
did.
well.
Uh-oh.
There are the walls. There are the walls. Shit, man. I mean, my lack of knowledge of AEW aside, this whole like MJF reference just really throws another layer of wrenches into the works.
So my advice on this pick is not to overthink it. I wouldn't let that. I wouldn't let that one comment sway your decision on this.
Yeah. Damn it. MJF lost at All In.
Correct.
So
Is that an accurate statement?
I'll give you guys this. If you
Yes,
want,
please. Help.
I would be happy to jump in and do my pick here, since I seem to be the one that has the most knowledge of AEW, and kind of give my 2 cents. And then we can jump back in with Ransom on the next one if you'd like, if you guys are okay with that.
No, I'll go ahead. I'm going to say
Okay.
MJF for one, just because, I mean, he lost it All In. Yeah, it's MJF. Sure, he could lose, but like, I don't know. I still think, no matter how much people say it, I still think, win-loss does mean something. Maybe not as much as it used to, but like, I don't know. I think from a dummy's standpoint, I just don't like the idea of somebody as big as MJF losing twice back to back on two of the big ones, pay-per-view wise. So yeah, like I'm gonna go with MJF just for.
Yes, Riboflavin. Tom?
I'm also gonna go MJF. I'm gonna put my 4-pointer on it. Yeah, the like, as we're sitting here talking it over and everything like that, like I'm with you on that one, Ransom. Like I don't see MJF being somebody that would take back-to-back losses, but to your point, like, win losses are supposed to matter, because that was like one of the big things that AEW touted for the long time, was like the win-loss record. They'd put it up there. They'd put somebody's win-loss record up, their singles losses up, like this year or overall and total overall. Like, now granted, they haven't always stuck to that.
I was gonna say, at one point, didn't they even have like where they sat in the ranking?
Maybe
even that
yeah, and honestly, I don't mind that, as long as you're gonna like stick to that. If you start getting away from that, that's whenever I have a problem with it. Like, booking wise, like if you have somebody who's lower in the rankings or has less has a worse off win-loss record than than like MJF or whatever, then that person shouldn't be the one getting a title shot. I understand, like, you have to book storyline wise what makes sense too, but if that's going to be the case, then and you're gonna make your win-loss records seem important, then that's also how you have to book. You have to take that into consideration too. So
yeah, like if you're gonna have win-loss records matter, make them matter.
Yeah.
If you're gonna have win-loss records not matter, make them not matter. Don't flip-flop.
Yeah, I mean, so a quick aside with this, like, that's something that I always never made sense to me before, like, even before AEW or in WWE or anywhere, where, like, if you just had some random fucking person come out and, issue a challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship, like, who the fuck are you? No, get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, make it make sense. But
So,
This seems like the logical pick, so I'll put my 4 points on it because there's some other matches coming up that could get really fucky and
yeah, I so a lot of points here. First of all, the records actually very recently disappeared from the AEW website.
Did they?
They're actually no longer, making as big of a deal about them because here's the thing. Much like you guys were saying, either make them matter or make them not matter. Like you can't have both sides of the egg browning at the same time.
It was basically
So,
like make it a stat instead of having it actually be important.
And exactly, and the problem is that you got all these fucking ham and eggers that are like running through Collision, running through fucking Rampage, that are on like 11-0 streaks, and you bring them the Dynamite, and you're like, oh, here's Serpentico, who's 7-0 in his last singles matches, and everyone's like, who the fuck is Serpentico? And then he
Yep.
loses to Wardlow, who's lost 4 matches already this year. So like. Like, oops, there he goes, like fucking 4 months of
Well,
booking for
hey,
Serpentico.
Here you go. This
Uh,
a perfect analogy is like when everybody was like, "Oh my god, the Pirates look so amazing in the preseason and the training camps," and then, "Oh my god, they look so amazing." Nope, they suck again because they went
Just
went up against somebody that was bigger and badder and better than them. That's like taking
Yeah.
a minor league team, Serpentico, and putting it up against a fucking major league team, Wardlow. It's
Somewhere
no,
a little
no,
tear went down Serpentico's cheek.
well,
Serpentor.
no shade to no shade to Serpentico. I actually like his gimmick quite a bit. I miss him and Dr. Luther as a tag team, but I think Luther is doing way better
Mr.
as
Luthor.
as the fucking the butler. Anyway, so yeah,
Serpentico heading up Cobra these days.
the rankings are gone, despite Tony's incessant need for them,
well,
which I think makes sense.
that even
And
furthers
I'm here for it.
that even furthers the point of how much I know about AEW because I didn't even realize the rankings were gone. Thank you.
That was like, well, so they haven't been talking about on TV for a while, but like they were still on the website. I think it was just this week they were removed from the website. So
Oh, damn.
it's just funny that this conversation brought that up. As far as the match goes, Ransom brings up an interesting point where he's like, MJF's a big player. You can't have him win. You can't have him lose a back-to-back, like, twice in big matches over the course of 3 weeks. I mean, fucking Swerve Strickland's in the same exact predicament. So like it's interesting, and that's why, outside of spending, fucking $50 for 2 pay-per-views in a 2-week period, I don't like this whole like all in, all out fucking like back-to-back thing. I think it was neat once. I don't think it is a lasting thing, and I don't think it needs to happen every year. If they get a streaming deal, whatever. Like, okay, like if they get a streaming deal, fine. Like that, I think premium live events. Even if you were to say make them each $30. Like so you're only paying the price of one pay per view or a little more than one pay per view for both of them. That makes sense too. But I don't know. To me, it just doesn't. It has not really ever made sense, except for when they were going with a 2 roster look with like the Punk show and then in the Elite show, which isn't the thing anymore. All that's to say, this is going to be a feud, right? Garcia and MJF's not going to be over in one match. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not often that the face wins the first match of the feud. Unless your name is Hulk Hogan, that just doesn't happen.
Brother.
So,
brother.
because it's just not going to work for him, brother. Exactly.
Huh?
So, I think that MJF wins this match, A, out of necessity, because yes, he did just lose a match against Will Ospreay and needs to bounce back. And B, I think that, again, if this is going to be a feud with him and Garcia. I think that just like the Ospreay match, the Ospreay feud, MJF won that first match. I think you can give Danny Boy some love at the end of this, but like you got to make it so that MJF is worth beating. So yeah, MJF 3 points from me. Poot.
Again, for all those reasons, I'm gonna go with MJF, but I'm gonna go 4 because if Garcia is gonna stick around for any length of time and they're gonna do this program, MJF up front needs the ammunition to talk about how absolutely incredible and great he is, and how everything he said about Daniel Garcia is valid. And he's basically, we need a reason to make him the heel that makes good points up front, because the money for Garcia is in the chase to prove himself and to shut up MJF, not to have MJF put him under thumb the entire time. So 4 points MJF.
And Ransom, you were like, I don't know what I'm talking about with AEW picks, but you came out with a super logical like walkthrough of that made a lot of sense that I didn't have to talk about. So like, don't doubt yourself just because you may not watch the AEW product. Wrestling and like wrestling like what makes sense. And with AEW, 9 times out of 10, if you go with what makes sense in a wrestling term, you're probably going to get points on him.
A, my picks score begs to differ, and B, if I'm right about this, it's nothing but blind panic. It's not
Fair.
knowledge, it's blind panic.
That's fair.
Don't say fair. Come on.
Organized chaos. I'd say organized chaos more than that.
Frickin' guy.
To be fair. We're not doing it anymore. At All In.
Okay, suck my dick then.
No, I
Okay.
won't. I scored, just by comparison, I scored 47, you scored 49 or 39. So like you were only 8 points behind me, which is like the difference of one match. So like again, don't fucking beat yourself up, you fucking Claude.
Girl, you don't know me.
Claudes, I
Claudia.
don't know. That's a bad.
Oh, girl.
That's a bad segue. Danielson defends his newly minted title against Jack Perry. Because again, God forbid we defend the TNT title twice in 1 month. I don't know. Like I get it as part of like the elite thing. Okay, it makes a little bit of sense. I don't like lesser champions challenging for higher champions unless it's a title for title situation, because there's zero drama in it. And I think that's the case here. That said, I forget whose pick it is. Is it mine?
I think it's
It is
mine.
I think I picked first last time.
Okay, then it's Tom's. Tom?
I think I picked MJF,
Yeah,
yeah.
you did pick MJF.
Just
Yes, Jeff.
Jeff.
Yeah. So in this
Jeff.
case, it's pretty much a no-brainer. Bryan Danielson, 8 points.
Yeah. Give me the M drag. Give me the 8 points. Yeah, like I said, there's zero drama here. I think the only drama is whether or not he can get a good match out of Jack Perry. Poop, who you got?
Oh, my 5 points on Amdrag. There's no question here. Sorry, Jack Perry.
Cry about it.
Give it
Cry me a river.
Give it a year. I think it's a
He's
different
so young.
Ransom?
I'll take the real Nature Boy for whatever my highest points available are.
The real Nature Boy. I like it.
Wait, are you talking about putting your points on Jack Perry?
By the way, I'm going to go ahead and hedge my bet on that being the actual Ric Flair retirement match. It'll be title name forever. It'll be Ric Flair versus Daniel Bryan. Who gets to call themselves the Nature Boy? Live on AEW pay-per-view.
Live.
I don't know.
Don't.
I don't.
Don't.
Come on.
Don't go
Come
down
on
that road.
Tell me.
AEW has kind of like done with Ric Flair. They promoted his shitty energy drink that was way too fucking expensive. And
Woo wings, baby.
yeah, they promoted him to get him through the fucking Sting chicanery. So I think we're done with that. Now that Papa H is back, now that Papa H is on top, I think that we're gonna, yeah, like that's just gonna be the thing now. So prepare yourselves. Speaking of
Yes.
preparing, here's a fun one. Okada defends against 3 guys who we have no idea who they are. All right, so it is a possibility of a combination of 6 other men. Pay attention.
Jeez.
What?
Pay attention.
Is this a wrestling match or a fucking episode of some video on Pornhub? What's going on?
Hell, what?
It's
I mean, yes.
either going to be Orange Cassidy or Brian Keith,
Who the hell's that?
the bounty hunter. Not
Dog?
dog.
Boba
I got
Fett?
it in front of it. Okay.
The guy from Taken?
So
I've literally never. I'm sorry. I've literally never heard of Brian Keith. I'm sorry.
there are the bounty hunter Brian Keith, like
No.
with the
Brian
fucking
Kendrick?
poncho, the
Keith Lee?
fucking poncho and the fucking big
Lee
white
Molina?
hat. He's part of the okay.
No, obviously not.
The
If
blue
I'm
guy
asking-
from Book of Boba Fett?
Samus Aran?
Big Boss Nass?
Big Boss Nass.
I want that to be Beef's commentator name if he ever commentates wrestling. I want his name to be Big Boss Nass.
I mean, I
You
thought.
so good!
Ushigoroshi.
Whoa, Buffy!
So we were just-
Oh fuck!
you
Shut it
fucking
down.
Dumb youngster, just keeping it rolling.
Don't yuck our
Yeah,
don't yuck our yum, buddy.
So,
that's not a thing. That's like saying put your mouth on trouble. That is something that one person in the world says, and it's Poot the Bard. I will not be tricked, sir. Anyway, so it's going to be either Orange
fuck.
Slot X goes to Orange Cassidy or Brian Keith. Slot Y goes to Lance Archer or Mark Briscoe, and
God.
Slot Z goes to Takeshka or the Beast Mortos, aka Black Taurus.
Again, who?
all right. How do they come to this decision? Like, are all of these guys that you mentioned, like, in their own bracket matches to see who wins? Or, like, how's this being determined?
Again. So it's going to be Okada versus X, Y, and Z.
Right.
X is either Cassidy or Keith. Y is Archer or Briscoe. Z is Takeshka or Mortos.
Yes, but when are they
Yeah, no,
coming? When are they
I-
having these matches to determine
Friday.
X, Y?
Tomorrow night. Friday night.
Tomorrow.
So, like, are
Bullshit.
I understand who you're naming here under
Don't
X,
ask
Y,
me
and
how
Z.
they got here. Don't ask me how they got here. Tony Khan railed a line of coke and said, "Here are the matches. They're going to face Okada. Go."
How? Okay.
Tony
Okay.
Khan, through the mouth of Christopher Daniels, who is the on-air personality, said Okada's defending in a 4-way at All Out. We're going to have 3 matches on Collision, which is actually just Rampage with a different fucking color scheme, on Friday night to determine who's going to who's going to that match. Here are the matches that we're going to be using to determine that.
Okay. I mean, hell, why not?
So,
Sounds great to me.
it is my turn to lead off.
Yes, it is. Good. Good job.
I'm gonna make it nice and easy. Lol. Okada wins 4 points.
Oh. See, here's the thing. I was hoping we were gonna have this big long discussion and discuss like Mordos and discuss like, oh man, the Murder Hawk Monster's coming back, and man, you know that Orange Cassidy fella really sneaking in there, a little mousetrap pin, little sneaky doodle. No, Lal Okada wins 3 points.
If I had my druthers, Lance Archer would absolutely fucking win this match.
Agreed.
But I think that AEW has said has publicly shown that they're not going to give Lance Archer the fucking time of day. At this point, I hope that Murder Hawk Monster either goes back to Japan or goes to WWE, because as a Lance Archer guy, man, am I fucking disappointed in his handling.
Agreed.
The minute, and I'm gonna take a minute to soapbox here because I don't have enough airtime when I talk on the show. The minute that they introduced this TNT title, I was like, finally, a mid-card title, and Lance Archer was fucking killing noobs. And I'm like, all right, Lance Archer's got this in the fucking bag. And then fucking, I think it was Cody. I think Cody beat him in the finals. And I'm like, okay, well, it's Cody. Whatever. Archer's going to get it back. Nope. Archer never got close to that part ever again. Tony Khan, for the love of God, realize what you have in the Murder Hawk Monster and give that man some fucking hardware. Ransom, it's your pick.
Was he in WWE already?
He was Vance.
Vance Archer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Vance Refrigeration.
Some different, Tom.
Vance of Vicky and Vance.
That's
Hawk Vance.
Vance Pants Dance Off.
Pants off, dance off. I'm gonna say Lal Okada wins for lowest points available.
that
You do
is
the
a
math.
3-spot.
Damn it.
3-spot for you, sir.
Well.
Tom?
Lol, Okada wins 2 points.
Fucking.
It would not shock me to see Orange Cassidy win this, but I think we're gonna get some fucky thing with him and Mark Briscoe because they're both part of the collusion or whatever the fucking conglomeration to where
The what now?
it's the conglomeration where it's gonna be some like weird thing that happens where Orange tries to win and Briscoe stops him, and Briscoe tries to win and he stops him, and Okada's just gonna get fucking like Takeshita with a roll up or something. I don't know. Takeshita is also a one that I think has a chance at winning, because he's another young guy that is going to just light the world on fire in the next few years. But yeah, I mean, right now I think, for my money, I think they're building to something here with the Elite. With the Bucks with their title and Okada with his title and Jack Perry and his title. With the whole Moxley like renegade thing, like not being part of the Blackpool Combat Club, using the fucking like renegade theme from New Japan, like the whole like this isn't your company anymore, Tony. Like,
Yeah, what's
I
that
think
all about?
This
Has anything else come of that since he said that?
He didn't really do too much last night. Just came out to give Darby a reminder that the clock was ticking. He got in the face of the Elite and said TikTok. So like,
we're stealing gimmicks now, are we?
Right. Maybe he can make it work where Papa H has failed. I just feel like they're building to something, and that something has to be fucking Kenny Omega beating Okada for that title. And if it's not, I will eat my hat that doesn't exist. The plan was Kenny versus Okada at All In for the title. I think Kenny's closer to coming back, so I think that we are going to see Kenny take that title. So bottom line is, I don't think Okada's losing that title anytime before Kenny Omega comes back. Finally, the purported main event in the Lights Out match, which I guess would technically be the match after the main event. I don't know how all that works. An unsanctioned steel cage match, hold harmless, whatever you want to fucking call it. AEW is wiping their hands from this after the Hangman has
Committed arson.
fucking burned down the childhood home of Swerve Strickland. So I saw that news article, And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like that's a neat little thing. Good for Swerve. Like it's it's always good to kind of have that, childhood whatever. Thinking nothing of it. And then fucking Hangman didn't come out last night, and I'm like, uh-oh. And then they cut the Hangman on his
Yeah.
fucking porch, and I'm like, uh-oh. And then they shoot Hangman with the fucking gas, and I'm gaming, and I said to Withero, I said, holy fuck, Hangman's about to burn Swerve's house down. And Withero's like, shit, I gotta put that on. And sure fucking enough, he lights the son of a bitch up, sitting at a fucking clawfoot chair, sipping his fucking whiskey with the house blazing in the background, is the coldest fucking image in wrestling this year. I think that
Pretty fucking great.
Drew Galloway, Drew McIntyre has competition for the hater of the years, sir. Hater of the year, sirs, because I think that Hangman Adam Page has entered the chat. In the old adage of they put one of ours in the morgue, or one of ours in the hospital, we'll put one of theirs in the morgue. Hangman responded to home invasion with arson.
Yep.
So I'm excited to see where this angle goes next.
Lord.
In a very Brian Pillman he's got a
Oh my
gun
gosh.
segment. All this is to say, like I'm being very like over the toppy with it and ha 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 guffaw. But my God,
Yeah.
my dick hard for this match, man. I am so fucking pumped
Gross.
because
Well,
I know what these
there
two
it
are
goes.
capable of. I know what these two are capable of. I know the chemistry that they have. I know the matches that they've had. And this dark cowboy intensity of Hangman Page right now is unmatched. I think it is a great fucking gimmick for him. I think that, cowboy shit smiling Adam Page is dead. And this fucker with this fucking Stan Lariat clothesline. No, the Stan Henson Lariat and this fucking big fat mustache. I think he's gonna win the fucking world title. And I'm excited for him to do so. So, I think that this is probably the feud of the year as well. Again, all due respect to Punk and McIntyre, I think that these two have just taken it to another level. Barring any sort of like silliness in the next few months, I think that these two got it locked up. All that to say, Poot, it's your pick, buddy boy.
Well,
And this will be your one pointer.
yeah, this will be my 1-pointer. I feel like I didn't like machinate anything goofy or like pull my punches early on. I feel like I'm like, oh wow, it's my 1 point, and this is the one that I'm kind of like jumping back and forth on. Man, I did good. As he loses miserably. This one is one that I was thinking about, and I would like you to think. This is not the first time we have seen home arson in wrestling. It's not the first time.
True.
Are you referring to Randy Orton burning down the Firefly Funhouse?
Yes. Yes, I am.
The swamp cottage, not the fun house.
Yeah, the old swamp cottage, burning.
Sorry, yeah, that
Swamp cottage.
Yeah.
swamp cottage cheese.
Swamp cottage.
right.
Damn you. All right.
Okay.
With this, and I remember the person whose house got burnt down. Ended up winning that match, as I recall. In true cinematic matches fashion, Randy Orton was murdered and then came back fine. But this one.
Randy Orton burned Bray's swamp cottage and then beat Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania.
Merciful.
Yeah.
No, they did a. Oh, that was prior. Prior. They had that match. Oh, and then he burned it down. That's right.
Yeah, because Orton was the face, and he he sneakily joined the fucking Wyatt family because Luke Harper was like, don't fucking trust him, blah blah blah, and Bray was like, don't worry about it.
Yep, I had my timeline out of order.
They didn't learn their lesson the first time. Whenever fucking Daniel Bryan betrayed them. or whatever, or Swerve.
Yes.
So
The jump.
There's your lesson,
Yes,
Pooh.
Daniel, the
don't-
jumpsuit apparatus, Brian.
Don't
damn
fuck with the sacred timeline. You'll be fine. Go ahead. Don't get pruned.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with gubernatorial, with this one,
Gubernatorial.
Goombas.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Hangman Adam Page on this for one. First of all, it's my 1 point. So this one, I was like, well, let's see. But Hangman Adam Page, that image of him sitting in that chair with that rocks glass of whiskey and having that burn, that silhouette, it was genuinely like chilling. And I like how Beef put it where he took
Coldest in the fucking realest sense of the word, man. It was cold as fuck. If AW does not display that fucking image for the next 10 years, it's a mistake.
Tuck your boner in your waistband. I was talking. I agree with you, but tuck that boner. The thing is, how do you not capitalize on that? Just fuck's sake, black shirt with that on it. That image is still of that. Like, Hangman Adam Page, what do? Swerve Strickland loses his belt, loses his family home, loses the match to Hangman Adam Page. He has nothing now. Nothing. And that is a good place to start to build back even stronger. You know what I mean? I got to go with Hangman Adam Page on this one, man. I feel like this is a Swerve Strickland needs to lose everything. Everything.
Ransom?
Well.
This is your 5-pointer, by the way.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had a stroke.
The aurora borealis.
But 5
Stop
points.
it, man, you fucking dick. I hate you so much. You dumb fuck.
What
I
happened?
got you, didn't I?
Fucking steamed hams happened. It's happening in my brain right now because Pooh was like, yes. Yes. The aurora borealis. At this time of year, located completely in your kitchen. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Can I see?
No.
What's that from?
Fucking The
Simpsons.
Simpsons, man.
Oh.
Steamed hams. That's what we called them.
Christ. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I googled steamed hams, and Google said, "Did you mean steamed clams?"
No fucking way.
I swear to God, Google steamed hams right now and
That's
said, "Did you mean
fucking
steamed clams?"
amazing. That's amazing.
Oh Jesus! Oh my God! I'm so sorry, everybody.
I'm not.
This is 100% Poot's fault, and I stand by it.
That was a wonderful interlude, though. I didn't understand it, but I enjoyed all the gleeful laughing.
Jesus Lord, I'm gonna send it in the chat. You take a couple minutes and watch all the fucking remixes.
It made me happy listening to all the laughter. Yeah, I don't know.
It does.
Just fucking left. Yeah, I don't know. Badonk.
Badonk.
Yep. So much for Ransom. Lightning has struck him. So
5 points on Prince Nana.
On we get with steamed cams.
I'm gonna start looking at women. I'm gonna go look at them steamed gams.
Stop it. You have to stop. We have to carry on this conversation. Ransom, who are you picking? For God's sakes, help us.
I don't know. Like, on one hand, it's like, well, yeah, Swerve gets his revenge by beating Adam Page, but like, is beating him in a unsanctioned. What's lights out match? What does that mean? Are they doing it in the dark? Mountain Dew
So,
pitch
like,
black?
the idea behind the lights out
no.
match is that like it's not a match officially on the card. In the olden days, what they would do is they would actually like dim the lights and then bring them back up to signify that the event had concluded. But here's this extra match that we have nothing to do with. I think AEW has done this
Wink.
before. They actually did the whole like turn the lights down and then bring it back up.
They did.
Yeah, WWE's done this before. Yeah.
Before I make my pick, I'm gonna have a beef soapbox moment and just voice my views on the whole like unsanctioned. I mean, I think it's stupid. It's an unsanctioned. We don't sanction this match, but it's going to be on our pay-per-view. We are not. We as a company are not sanctioning this match, but we're going to build and bring in a steel cage specifically for this match.
Yes.
We're not sanctioning this match as a company. We do not sanction this match. We want nothing to do with this match. But we'll have a company referee refereeing the match.
Yes.
Anyway, I think that's stupid. Like,
So,
come up with a different way. Like, I think that's just dumb.
Can I interject real quick? I think.
Yeah, I don't think we should have an argument.
I'm not trying to have an argument. I'm just saying I think that the unsanctioned. Yes, I think that the unsanctioned facet comes from like the governing body, not AEW, but like, the territory days, like unsanctioned in the state of Pennsylvania because the Pennsylvania Board of Pro Wrestling or whatever would not sanction this, which there is a little bit of roots too, I guess, because there are like doctors required and all these things, and like there is like a board that oversees these things statewide, believe it or not. Which is why there are some states that AEW can't do blood in, and things of that nature.
Like this.
So like,
State
Sorry,
Board
John
of,
Moxley, you can't wrestle in that state.
like State Board of Athletics.
exactly, something like that, like a governing body. And I don't, I think each state's have a different name, but like, I think that the idea is like that's the governing body that is not going to sanction it. So like, the idea is that AEW takes these matches to the governing body of whatever state that they're in. In this case, it would be Illinois, and say, here are our matches, and they go, okay, stamp, 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 stamp. Up, not this one. We're not sanctioning this match. And AEW is like, oh, well, we can't keep these guys apart, so I guess we just have to kind of lean into it, but admit that the state of Illinois is refusing to sanction it. I get your premise. It's kind of hokey. I kind of like it, but I understand, from a purist perspective, how that's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how you don't have Adam Page win. Like, coming off of such a dastardly deed of like burning this dude's house down. This is like a swamp shack that you're burning down and posing in front of with the fucking Randy Orton pose. That by far was the absolute cherry on top of that whole burning this sacred swamp shack down as I'm going to do my hands up pose in front of it. Like, do anything else. Like, stand there and smirk, smile, drink a beer, smoke a cigarette, fuck a hooker. Anything else other than like, hey, I'm not on the top rope, but look at my pose. I'm in front of these flaming ashes. Whoa. In any case, I don't know how you don't have Adam Page win this. Like, I think it kind of takes some of the pardon the pun, it takes some of the fire out of this match if you don't have Adam Page win it, because it's like, I burnt your house down, I've done this dastardly deed, I'm the wickedest of wickedy, and oh no, you've beaten me. Okay, well, neat.
I have been bested.
Yeah, well, back to the drawing board. You probably should have posed in front of it instead of sitting there drinking whiskey.
Fuck a hooker.
I mean, it
in
would have
front of
been
it, too.
better. I've yeed my last toss. See ya, everybody.
Well,
Yeah.
partner, I
that old
need my
dusty
last
trail.
haw.
Time for me to be hitting the old dusty trail. I want to say Adam Page because I think it makes the most sense to have him win after such a spectacle. Like, I just think it's kind of a waste almost if they did this grandiose thing of burning down this house, and then it's like, well, Swerve got his revenge. You burned down my house. I beat you in a match. Oh, okay. Well, you fucking showed me, didn't you, you bastard guy? Adam Page for the money.
Oh my god, I'm dying.
Tom, who you got here?
I can't. I'm still reeling over. Drink a beer, smoke a cigarette, fuck a hooker. I'm like, good lord.
I mean, you're just going full mocks at that point.
I mean, anything other than doing your pose. Like, you
Oh,
just,
God.
I'm going to set this building ablaze and then pose. I'm going to break into Brian Pillman's house with a gun and then do my pose. Like, okay, neat.
Just have a live sex celebration in front of a giant bonfire.
I mean, it's almost like Steve Austin breaks into Brian Pillman's house. They do the angle with the gun, and then Steve Austin goes outside and does the, double middle fingers in the air on the balcony in front of nobody. Okay, cool.
Oh fuck.
Ba-da-da-da-da-da.
All right. So I do have a couple questions before I make my pick. One, Beef, who the hell is the picture of the guy that you sent in the chat, the black dude in the poncho?
That's
That's
Brian
the
Keith,
bounty hunter, Boba Fett.
I don't fucking know. I didn't look into my phone
You've
until
never
like
seen this dude?
No.
You've never seen this dude before? Jesus, man.
No.
Dog the bounty hunter.
That's okay.
no, I have not.
Yep.
I'm looking at
You
him. I'm looking at him and I'm going, who the fuck are you?
You don't have to you don't have to yell at me. I'm just browbeating you. It's fine.
Well, fucking
What?
browbeat me.
Oh,
I,
rude.
I didn't look at my phone until well after you sent it. That's why I'm asking too.
That's fair. That's
Okay.
fair.
Who's this fool?
All right. Number 2. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
Oh, hell.
in their single matches that they've had, Hangman has not beaten Swerve yet, correct?
That's accurate.
Okay. So, not that it matters, and it's my one pointer anyways.
None of this matters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But for all the reasons that Ransom just mentioned, and the fact that Hangman has not gotten one up on him in their feud as of yet, and I think this is a feud that we could, continue for a while. Like, like you could split them apart for a little bit, and then pick right back up again. Almost a la like a Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns sort of feud, how they had their rival, going on for fucking like 7 years almost, the better part of.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like this is something that could definitely have some legs to it. So I'll pick Adam Page for my 1 point, and I think Ransom kind of hit the nail on the head with it, where he says, like, you have Swerve lose, and he has nothing. Like, yeah, he just signed this big contract, but he just used that extension money or whatever that he got, whatever extension that he just signed to, to buy the house or whatever. In kayfabe. And but it would make for a good, comeback story or whatever, that he literally had nothing. It's like, you burnt my house to the ground, you beat me in this match, now he's got to build back up, and you gain sympathy for Swerve. And maybe this is where, like, I don't know for sure, but maybe this is where they kind of take Swerve out of being sort of like a tweener into a little bit more face-leaning role. Maybe, maybe not. But if there was any question, like, who was the established heel in this scenario, like, you could have argued before, like, when Swerve did the second home invasion, he's creeping on Hangman's pregnant wife and his kid. It's kind of like, well, that's not very face-like stuff, but people still cheered him. But, committing arson is definitely a very heel thing to do, unless you're Randy Orton. So, yeah, so I think Hangman
If you
takes...
pose in front of the ashes,
Yeah.
then it's face. If you don't pose, then it's heel.
But what if you fuck a hooker? Tweener?
Yeah. Win,
Winning.
then it's OnlyFans.
That's what the lights out match is. First opponent to fuck a hooker in the ring.
Jesus Christ.
Well, Ric Flair won that one.
Woo!
Well,
It depends if we're talking. It depends if we're talking with consent or not.
Longest ride, longest line.
Ugh, God. Jerry.
Now I feel icky.
Yeah.
We were talking about blatant arson, and I feel ickier talking about Ric Flair.
Yeah. Give me arson over fucking Ric Flair any day.
Yeah, right. Burn down all the houses as long as you're not like an actual monster. So like this match has actually, or this feud has actually been going on for a while. If you remember, their last match, the first match rather, was at Wrestle Dream last year, in Swerve's hometown of Seattle. So like it's been going damn near a year, on and off, and like these are the feuds that I like when like shit goes dormant. And then all of a sudden, one of them says or does the wrong thing, and the other one just looks like, "Nope, fuck that guy," and it's back on. I think
The other one just goes,
like,
"You motherfucker!"
No.
Yep, and those are my favorite feuds of all. I think Rock Austin had another great one like that too, where like they do stuff for a while, then they'd go and they'd fuck with other people, and one of them would give a side eye to the other one, all of a sudden to be back on. So like I think that was always super fun. So yeah, like I think that this is and like you chaps have said, this is absolutely something that does have the legs to keep going and keep extending, because these guys have a lot of natural charisma, and which is weird to say about Hangman after his initial foray, but like it seems like he's leveled up. You know, he's evolved. And all it took was to watch some videos of fucking Stan Hansen apparently. But you know, he has become, I think, pinnacle like cowboy. Like not like fucking Johnny Cash style. Like this isn't like fucking Roy Rogers, fucking the
This
fucking
ain't yeehaw cowboy.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
This ain't fucking John Wayne going to town. This town ain't big enough for the both of us. Nah, man, this is like fucking like real fucking cowpoke. Like I'm gonna fuck you and your wife and take all the money, and you're not gonna do a damn thing about
And
it.
that
'Cause I got a
and that
goddamn
hooker
unit.
over there.
And that hooker over there, all in front of your burning house. So like, I think that this is like the best that we're gonna get out of Hangman as far as character work goes. And these two bring out the best in one another. So like absolutely this thing, could have legs for some time. That said, as you guys have pointed out, Hangman has not, or Swerve has not, no, I'm backwards. Fuck. Now
Pick
I
one.
have to fucking look myself, because I think who won? I think Hangman. Okay, so I want to walk back what I told you, Tom, and if you want to change your pick, that's fine. But I think Hangman beat Swerve at Wrestle Dream. Let me check the stats here. No, Swerve beat Hangman. So yeah, so Swerve has won both matches. So yes, it is time for Hangman win. And like Ransom had said, like you can't have this fucking act of like heinous atrocity and follow it up with, "Well, I lost." See you guys later. Like that's just not how wrestling works. Moreover, to Poot's points, you guys are just all making great points. Moreover, I think that yes, Swerve has to lose it all. Fucking Tom. Swerve has to lose it all in order
What
to
did
build
I
it back.
do? Fucking what?
You fucking burp over all my fucking points. I'm gonna shave one of your fucking eyebrows. I think that Swerve. I think the story of Swerve climbing back into it from the bottom is a bigger story because he is, I think, one of the coolest characters in wrestling today.
Sir, go shave your best friend's eyebrows because that was his point. I echoed it.
No. You burped.
I didn't at all.
Somebody fucking belched.
Why are you blaming me? Ransom's the gassy one.
Anyway, because it's happened multiple times. Anyway, my point here is that Hangman needs this win way more than Swerve does. Swerve is so fucking cool that I think he can stand to lose some matches and still be okay. Unlike MJF, where I think MJF, I won't say MJF needs this victory, but we're getting pretty close to needing to see him have a high leverage victory. I think the Swerve can absolutely eat some pins and be okay. Plus, with this being a lights out steel cage match, it's gonna get fucky. It's gonna get brutal. I think we're gonna see some fucking depravity here, which again has me all kinds of geeked up. So I echo all the sentiments here. I pick Hangman Page for 1 point because it makes sense. And most importantly, I have to beat Amber. At this point, this pay-per-view, I was not playing to win. I was playing not to lose. So I went by the book on all of the matches, and I feel pretty fucking confident. All that's gonna be a lot of fun, though. I'll tell you that outright. I think that it's gonna be, obviously continuing the trend of AEW pay-per-views being really fucking good. I think that it's gonna be really fucking good.
I have a question.
No.
I have an answer.
Do you think it's gonna be real fucking good?
No, I think it's gonna be really fucking good.
There we go.
Ow.
Ow.
So let's talk about No Mercy for a second.
Probably the best Nintendo 64 game I've ever played.
Bar none.
Diggity dog.
Diggity dog.
I mean, GoldenEye was pretty good. Wasn't
didn't age well.
Banjo-Kazooie? Wasn't Banjo-Kazooie on 64 as well?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Banjo-Kazooie is better than No Mercy.
I
disagree.
All that being said, I'm talking about the NXT Premium Live event that transpired last Sunday night.
You goofy fucking idiot. I love it. I love it.
No love for Bash in Berlin beef?
I think that it was what we thought it was going to be.
The booze boosh.
For better or for worse, I don't think anything really jumped out at me at Bash at Berlin as notable.
I have one thing.
Or go ahead.
It's about the strap match, but it's not what we discussed previously.
Okay.
Man, I hope Punk really enjoyed the taste of Drew's dick sweat off that bracelet, because Drew pulled it out of his tights, and CM Punk kissed it later on. That just wasn't good planning on his part.
A little bit of Scottish Pete Moss don't hurt. Whatever.
I mean, if that's what you're into, good for you.
Little dirt don't hurt.
Can confirm.
I'll
Wait,
mention.
Damn it, Ransom.
Well,
The
my newly found heritage, I can confirm.
uh,
It's always aired out with a kilt, so at least it's dry.
Oi!
Damn
we can
it.
stop talking about Drew Galloway's nuts for a second.
No, never. More nuts.
Yeah, sorry.
Drew,
I
who?
think-
That's
You heard
Haggis.
me.
I
So
There's nuts in those
they
brownies.
went back to
That sounded like we got a spit take, boys.
no. No, just short of a
Sorry,
snort.
go ahead.
Oh god.
they went back to the fucking well again on Monday night, where Punk was talking about potentially coming out to challenge Gunther, which I'm like, okay, that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. And then out comes Drew, takes the fucking bracelet again, and I'm like, holy fuck, like, come on, man, like.
Yeah, that was a really good payoff. It was a great payoff, and they should have left it alone.
Well, I like the wrestling world is like, okay, like we can only get so involved over two guys fighting over a bracelet.
Put AJ Lee on a
It was an eight-
forklift.
We're
It
getting
was-
dangerously close to Lord of the Rings territory. Pretty soon they'll just, spend most of a movie walking and hanging out with a stoned old guy.
One
Ric Flair.
bracelet to rule them all.
but
Damn it.
I think that so
One
they keep pulling out.
Scott
I'm
dick
like,
to
fuck,
bind them.
here we go. Like, here we go. This is fucking bracelet again. And then he finally fucking like snapped it and broke it all up. And I'm like, okay, like
Good.
that's all right. Finally, like we're good.
Yeah.
It's past us. Now we can focus on the actual brutality of the match. I didn't have any problem with the strap match, man. I think the strap match was fine. I think it was Punk's best WWE match since his return, which again isn't hard to do because it was his second singles match. So like, but I think it proved that Punk can still hang. He's not what he once was, obviously, because Father Time.
Waits for no man.
Exactly.
Is undefeated.
I think I
So-
mentioned I think I mentioned it when we were talking about it in the chat, but hot take, I actually enjoyed the SummerSlam match a little bit more than the strap match. I feel there was more drama in the SummerSlam match, and part of that could have been because of the added Seth factor, because he has beef with both of them. And I
Right.
think honestly, if they were gonna do a strap match, they for the brutality of it and this blood feud that's going on, like, I mean, granted, it worked for what it was, but I feel like if you're gonna do the strap match, just do a strap match, not a four corners one. Like, just be brutal, beat
Yeah.
the fuck out of each other, and like, you don't have to like.
It wasn't that.
And it's like, oh, we're gonna be so brutal, but I gotta touch the corners. That's how I'm gonna win.
And,
Like, no, like, win by pinfall submission, make the dude pass out, like, choke him with the strap till he passes out or something, like, choke him out with it, whatever. But I don't know.
And we know that CM Punk has like success in that style of thing because we know how revered the fucking dog collar match with Max was. So like, if anything, I think you're hitting the nail on the head. Like, I think that it was just it wasn't a strap match. It was a carry your opponent around the ring.
it was a
match.
four corners match. If
Right.
like,
It
sorry, go ahead.
it didn't really have any. It didn't really have any brutality.
Right.
And like with as blood feud as this has been, for it to be that kind of like, and again, like, no shade, I think that they did the best with like the way that the match was booked.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like maybe, just maybe, they should have went with a dog collar match, or like you had suggested, just a regular scrap match. I think the rubber match is going to be the true teller at Bad Blood.
I agree. And
I'm hoping for a steel cage match. My buddy suggested it might be an ambulance match, and I am very whelmed with the idea of a fucking ambulance match. Like, give me a steel cage match.
well,
Dude, those kind of Tom, just really quick, I'm sorry. Those kind of gimmick, just to go off that, the gimmick matches like the ambulance match and stuff like that. That feels very late attitude, early ruthless aggression kind of vibe.
I could even see, if not a steel cage match, I could see a last man standing match. That would be a good blow off as well.
That would be fine. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I know I know I had questioned it before about the last time there was like a Four Corners one. It was Cena and Rusev when they had the chain. Yeah. That's the last time I can remember in WWE vividly a Four Corners match. And yeah, it's like I said, it was a good match. But it could have been a little bit better if they did, one or two things different in that sense. But yeah, I'm with you. I'd like to see a steel cage, or like I said, maybe a last man standing match. Because obviously it's got to be something. It's already going to be something where it's elevated beyond like DQ. Like there can't be any disqualifications in this, so we're already past that point. You know what I mean?
Can I hedge an opinion?
Yeah.
Personally, I think if done right, the most brutal blow-off match, again, just my opinion, is an I Quit match. And by done right, I mean don't quit because your wife gets in the ring and you have to do it to save her or your dog or a bracelet or a sword. Like a proper I Quit match where you just beat your opponent to the point where it's not even like a last man standing. Last man standing, that can be a brutal match, but like an I Quit match is you have to verbally say, I've had enough. You have beaten me too much. I hurt too much. I quit. Like I feel like a proper I Quit match might be the best thing for these two, because then you can unequivocally say, like, the winner can come out and say, I have beaten you. I have beaten you so bad that you had to say, I quit. You had to verbally give up. Like, I don't know. There's something about an I Quit match when done right that just screams of like, we had a blood feud and I am clearly the victor because you didn't tap out, you weren't pinned, you didn't pass out, you did not stand up. You had to verbally acknowledge that you quit the match because I have beaten you so bad.
But has that ever worked? Like, can you think of a scenario where that specific scenario? Because to me, that's pretty fucking definitive. Because that is like,
didn't Batista and somebody have an I Quit match where Batista
it was Cena's
legit
last,
gave up?
It was Batista's last match in WWE before his return. It was Cena and Batista.
I feel like that was one where
taped. Right, but again, like, it was okay because it was Dave's last match. Like, and that's fine if you're gonna give him like a 7-year break. But the problem is that like if you have Drew say I quit to Punk, and it has nothing to do with anything emotional, boy, that's hard to come back from. If you have Punk say I quit to Drew, again, real hard to come back from.
I agree.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, don't you want that though? Like, don't you want it to be hard to come back from because it's like
you want because then you are snuffing out two guys who are on fire this year. I think I Quit worked in Hart Austin because Austin never said I quit. He passed out from the pain and made a star. I think I Quit worked in Rock and Foley because The Rock beat Foley senseless, and then they played that like recording of him saying it on Heat. I think I Quit worked in was it Balor and Edge because of Edge's wife getting involved. I think that you have to have a smart way of getting out of an I Quit match. Otherwise, I don't like to use the word buried, but it to me it's a definitive bury. Because at that point, like, I think that you have successfully snuffed out all the progress that has been made of either of these guys this year. So I agree. I think that an I Quit match is an incredible thing to use. I just don't think that this. I don't think that your scenario would work in this particular feud. If these are two guys well versed in submission moves and was like a catch as catch can match, if this was Zack Sabre Jr. and Bryan Danielson, 10 out of 10 times I'm signing up for an I Quit match because it's believable. But like, I just don't see it. You know, if you have Drew standing over a bloody Punk, holding a chair, and Punk going, okay, I'm good, I quit, I'm done. Like, if you have any aspirations for Punk in a world title match, I don't see it anymore.
Right. And
If you have Punk lock on the Anaconda Vice or the Sharpshooter and Drew's like, oh, I quit. Like, if you have any aspirations for putting Drew in the main event anytime soon, I think they're evaporated.
And I think like I had said earlier with like the Swerve and Hangman thing and alluding to like, you know, Brock and Roman, this is something like where, you know, granted we don't know how long Punk is going to be around for, but this is something that, you know, 6 months to a year down the road, if he's still around or whatever, and we need something for Drew, we could always come back to this because we saw like, oh God, you know, these two have history. They've been through this and they've been through that and blah 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 blah. So you can leave it a little open ended. Like you can have this blow off match, which I'm curious to see like which way they'll go. I'm wondering if who they'll have come out on top in that. Especially because it seems like, you know, as Punk may have alluded to, or if this was all just part of the, you know, the storyline here, like, you know, you may want to try to put Punk with Gunther and give him, you know, quite a bit of a rub, in Punk, you know, having a losing world title match and stuff like that. So I wonder, excuse me, if they'll have Punk go over in the rubber match here. But, you know, you can have them have this blow off match and then, you know, separate them for a little while somehow, some way. And have them come back around again if need be, because we know it's something that these two have chemistry, as it's been proven. It can work, and you know what a great feud it would be, and just get it ramped back up again.
Yeah. Well put. And I think last man standing match, I think you can get away with that being a little bit more like, if we're looking for like definitive, I think that that's a little bit more like approachable, because I think that you could have a guy like CM Punk who's backed up into a corner and like a fucking rabid dog, like come out with some shit and have him beat McIntyre that way. Conversely, I think that you could have McIntyre, you know, damn near kill Punk and have it be like kind of like, you know, definitive there. But yeah, God help me if it's a fucking ambulance match, man. Like, let's just leave that shit in the past. I'm really hoping. So like it's weird to have this feeling, but like initially, whenever the Swerve and Hangman match was announced as a steel cage match, I'm like, okay, miss me with that. Like, give me something different. But, and this is even before it was you know, set up as a lights out match. Like it became something where they're like, hey, you know, like who has treated old school matches better than Tony Khan and in the last 5 years? I'm like, that's a fair point. I think that Triple H has the same kind of reverence, so I think a steel cage match would make a lot of sense as well.
Yeah, and sorry for getting you off of NXT, but I did want to. I felt like Bash in Berlin was worth bringing up. I was happy to see. I was happy to see Bianca and Jade get the titles back. I think that was a course correction sort of thing. Like, you know, let's be honest. The only reason that the Unholy Union, is that what they called themselves? Alpha Fire and Isla Dawn. The only reason they got the titles was because, you know, one of their parents had passed away, and they were overseas in Scotland, and you know, we wanted a feel good thing. Like, okay, But now course is correct, and now we have the titles back on Bianca and Jade. Make them look like stars, and continue making them look like stars, and then inevitably lead that towards when they lose the titles, have Jade turn on Bianca, and there we go.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, so looking at No Mercy here, because I think that this is interesting. There are a lot of things to dissect here. We talked about I don't know that we talked about it on air, but like the whole Ridge Holland Chase U thing,
We did.
is okay. So like I the big one to me, the two big things that stand out to me are Wesley losing and Joe Hendry losing. I think I'm more okay with Wesley losing because he's the heel, and it seems like they're giving a real good rub to Zachary Wentz, who apparently is, um,
The X Division champ.
yeah, and
Yeah.
also like he's showing a pretty good attitude for them. Apparently more than they had, not that they had expected, but like apparently like his demeanor, everything is different now than it was previously.
Well, when
Um,
when you almost have everything taken away from you like that, or I mean, when you do have it taken away and you get it back, your attitude kind of changes. He could have been bitter, but he's better.
It's a great way to put it. That's a great fucking sound bite.
Thank you.
That's a great fucking sound bite. I so like and I think maybe down the line we might be looking at Wesley, the X Division champion. I
Mhm.
think that'd be neat to see a TNA, an NXT contracted talent be a TNA champion. I think that that'd be a neat thing, and obviously be looking forward to the reciprocity therefore, or coming thereafter. Um, I think the big thing for me is the fact that Joe Hendry lost.
Yeah.
I so like let me start by prefacing it with this. And we talked about it a little bit on the picks, like being the company guy, following the company guy, like it is risky bid new, as Poot likes to say, putting
Yeah.
a world title on somebody who's not contractually obligated to your company. But sometimes in the course of human existence, there are things that like defy that logic, and I think that Joe Hendry was one of them. Especially because Ethan Page is literally around for what, like 3 months now? So it's not like he's some like big fucking NXT stalwart. If anything, he's more of a TNA guy than fucking NXT. Um, and like I get that they're angling back to Trick versus Ethan Page to get that title back on Trick, and I think that would make him the first ever NXT three-time champion. Not 100% on that stat, but he's probably got to be close.
Wait, that's when he just won it. That was only his first time winning it, was it not?
He won it, and I think he lost it, didn't he?
No.
I
No.
could be wrong on that. I thought he already had a two-time
Nope.
championship reign. Okay, might be.
No, he was North American champion at one point whenever he was still with Mello, I believe. Or no, he won the North American championship because then Mello was champ, and there was the whole like them against they had their thing, and then they both lost, and then Trick was supposed to go back after the North American championship, but he got involved in the main title hunt, and then Mello turned on him.
Yep.
Blah 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 blah.
I may have been thinking about the I may have been thinking about uh Yeah, I might have been thinking about the North American champion. Anyway, um, yeah, I think that like that's clearly what they're kind of angling for.
Right.
But at the same time, man, like Joe Hendry at this point is lightning in a bottle. He always will be a good like upper card guy. He's got the skills, he's got the talent, he's got the charisma. Just the charisma alone is enough to put him on the upper card for life. But I think you could argue, maybe not, that his staying power is debatable. I don't think Joe Hendry's star is ever going to get bigger than what it is right now. For whatever reason, the meme of his music and his GIF, and I believe that whole thing blowing up virally was right place, right time kind of thing. And I don't like you can't fabricate that. And I don't think that they'll be able to get back to that, even if Joe Hendry becomes a contracted NXT talent down the line. I don't think they're ever going to hit that pinnacle again. And sometimes it's okay to fly in the face of conventional wisdom if you know you got something special. The Yes Movement is a great example where they very clearly should have pivoted before they did and said, let's lean into this because something special is happening. And they did that with Kofi Mania. I think that this is another scenario where they should have rolled with the punches. And again, I get that it's, apples and tractors. That like Joe Hendry being a TNA talent makes it difficult to kind of have that discussion.
Mm-hmm.
But man, like I think that NXT is going to be looking at themselves with a what if here for a long time.
So, I mean, it's kind of the big sticking point of it is the very last thing you said, the fact that he's not a contracted talent. If there was definitely some sort of thing, like if his contract was coming up and they could even possibly work that into the storyline too, like, if they could work that in somehow and have him cross over to NXT, I could see it, I could see it working that way. But at the end of the day, it's a business, and they're realistically, I understand it would be a big shock. And don't get me wrong, I would have been happy to have been wrong. I would have been happy if Hendry won because I think he deserves it. He's been busting his ass for years, and while you're absolutely right, I don't think his star is going to be anywhere near as bright. I don't think it's going to get any brighter than what it is right now. Just the way with how people are and how things tend to go viral and how things are here 1 minute, gone the next, and people's short attention spans and the whole, instant gratification culture, all that. I agree with you on that. But maybe TNA has plans for him very soon. Maybe he's going to be their world champion soon. Who knows? I just, from a business standpoint, I think that's the biggest thing, is the fact that he is not contracted to WWE. Now, granted, if the rumors are to be true, well, I think Hendry tweeted it out himself or something, so it's not like it was like a dirt sheet scuttlebutt. But Hendry has like TNA and NXT have whatever working deal that, as like, even though Hendry is a contracted TNA talent, he's allowed to, he has access to the NXT facilities and this and that for training. Let's just blanket statement, training. And that it's a first of its kind working relationship / deal arrangement, whatever you want to call it. So I understand where you're coming from, but I think just because of the fact that he is not signed on the dotted line to WWE/NXT, I think they would have a hard time pulling that trigger. Just so they can, I don't know, just because.
So let me pivot the discussion is saying this. Like, let's remember the Kenny Omega belt collector days, where he was TNA champion and Impact champion, which those two are different belts, but they were. And then also the AAA, I think, Mega champion.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, along with the AEW champion. So, like, that was the same situation where Kenny Omega was not a TNA contracted guy. Neither was Christian, for what it's worth, who beat Kenny for the title. So, like, that's a situation where I think you see the hunger create something really cool. And I'm not trying to say that NXT is a bad product at all. I think that they have really hit their stride here in the last 6 to 8 months and have been putting on some banger shows. I think that they lost themselves in the weeds for a minute, but I think that I can say safely that they're back. That being said, I think that it's a scenario, where I think a little bit of hunger to be even better may have created something really special.
Right, and
And I think I think we all lose because that didn't happen.
well, like I said, I agree with you. Like, it would have been cool to see, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't have done it or anything like that. I'm just saying why I think that in my opinion, that they didn't. Like, the Kenny Omega belt collector thing was awesome. Like, that was really cool. I dug it. I'd be here for having them shake it up and do something, where somebody outside the company wins the title, because you have a lot of ways that you could, like, I mean, there's the obvious, like, sort of like invasion angles or whatever, but I mean, those have been, done, and in some cases done to death. Like, but it does open up some different storylines and stuff like that. It invites some crossover, and you get matches that you never thought you would have had happening. I'm all for that. I'm just saying why I think, in my opinion, that they didn't do it is just because the fact that he's not contracted talent. Like, yeah, the Yes Movement and everything like that, Kofi Mania, fantastic points, but again, they're contracted talents. That's the linchpin there. So I would love to see it. I just don't know that WWE is, and WWE, TKO, whoever, whatever the powers may be, are willing to do that. But who knows? Maybe 6 months, a year down the road, we could see that happen. I don't know. Who's to say? It would be neat to see, though. I'd be here for it. But in the end, it goes back to what you said, that they're doing exactly what you said. Like, they're building this back up to be Trick versus Ethan. Like, with Trick being the special guest referee, and then there was, like, the Pete Dunne factor. I was like, there's no way that they put this title on Hendry, because somehow Pete Dunne's going to get involved. And I thought he was going to get involved sooner than the very end of the match after the 3 count, but he still got involved, eventually at the end. But I just, I don't know. I hope that Joe Hendry does stay around for a while, regardless, like in relevance, whether it's in TNA, NXT, whatever. He's wildly talented and creative. He's solid in the ring. So I hope that his staying power isn't just, a fleeting meme or anything like that. I hope it continues on for some time to come.
I mean, if you had watched Hendry on, had seen him before, it's one of those things. I'm not sitting here like saying he's the next coming of a Shawn Michaels or anything. I'm not like, from ring work and charisma and everything, but I'll tell you what, he is absolutely a cut above. Even his work on the indies. I remember following WCPW whenever What Culture Pro Wrestling, whenever they started their own little wrestling company. And I say little, but for an indie, especially whenever the indies in England were still, going pretty strong before they were gutted.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing Joe Hendry, we see him as a face, and kind of seeing the evolved form of his face persona, but he was always at least back then he was a heel. He was the local hero, Joe Hendry,
and is an ICW as well, correct?
Oh yeah. Like he can do both. You know what I mean? He really can. And like, you watched him and you're just like, this guy's really good, and he's really charismatic, and he's very, very good on the mic, and he's creative. He's very creative. It took him a long time to find that kind of voice of being the Joe Hendry that people are kind of, going head over heels for now. And I think there will be a good amount of growth. I just think I'm just, man, and I think I even said this before. I'm worried that he's going to get that Dolph Ziggler treatment, man. And which, now to be fair though, I will say, despite the fact they never really pulled the trigger on Dolph to make him like a, rocket him to the moon or anything, the man has had and still is having a hell of a career.
Yeah.
So like, you can't shake a stick at that. And if that's going, oh man, they never pulled the trigger on Joe Hendry, I hope he has a fucking like that. If it never does go more or bigger and beyond. And I like Beef saying he's a top card guy. He's versatile. You can put him in anything, you can put him in anywhere, and he'll be liked. He has the LA Knight effect. You know what I mean?
Yeah, agreed.
I don't know, man. Like, it felt like something special and unique. And again, like, I picked Ethan Page, so clearly I kind of thought I kind of read the tea leaves. But like, man, you don't get a lot of chances for things like that.
Yep.
Things like that don't just fall into your lap. I think the TNA has done a piss poor job of capitalizing on Hendry Mania. I think that NXT has done a far better job. I think the TNA's response was, oh, okay, well, let's put them in some main event matches, which is fine, I guess. But again, like, fuck. Can you imagine Austin 316 happening and them saying, let's put Steve Austin in some main events? People seem to like him, and not capitalizing on it. I'm not saying that Joe Hendry is Steve Austin. I'm simply making a comparison. I just, I don't know. Like, again, I don't fault Shawn Michaels and et al. For decisions made. I understand that, like, it's for the brand, and you want to protect the brand integrity and all this other stuff.
Oh yeah.
But man, like, you had a shot to do something really cool. You missed. And now I think we're just gonna get some schlocky. And here's kind of the worst part, at least to me. It feels like Trick's slowing down a little bit. At least his appeal with the fans. I think you're always gonna get, like, whoop that Trick, but it's definitely not like as big of a deal as it was.
No.
So I feel like they bet on the wrong horse, so to speak. And again, nothing's wrong with Trick. I think Trick's great. I think that Trick has a great career ahead of him, and he too is a font of charisma. But, like, again, I feel like it was a missed opportunity. That's all. One that they might lament for a while. Maybe not. Too soon to tell. Ransom, any
Yep.
thoughts on the Joe Hendry situation?
I'm still a little flabbergasted that in 2024, after we have seen the swell of fan movement behind certain individuals, and then when companies finally pull the trigger on those individuals, seeing the success behind it, I wonder, like, is there something behind the scenes that we don't know about with Joe Henry as to why TNA won't pull the trigger on him? I mean, like Beef said, that's like WWE not pulling the trigger on Austin 316. That's like WWE not pulling the trigger on the Yes Movement. I mean, it took a minute, but they finally did it. And it worked. Like, it's obviously worked. Like, when there's such a groundswell in the fans behind somebody, rarely is that the wrong decision to pull the trigger. It can be at times, I'm sure, but rarely is it, in my belief and understanding. So I don't know. I have no idea what is going on with TNA. Like, if they just don't see it, or if there's something going on behind the scenes why they don't pull the trigger on this guy. That I don't understand. I don't understand TNA and Joe Henry and the lack of trigger pulling when it comes to him there. As far as WWE goes, like, I understand the whole, like, you know, he's not our guy. He's not an NXT guy. He's not contractually obligated. And again, I don't know the inner workings of wrestling companies. But surely there could have been something that WWE and TNA could have worked out contractually to protect both companies, to protect both brands, but to still get that belt on Joe Henry. Like I said, I don't know the legalities of the wrestling business, but, like, couldn't there have been a legal contract worked out between WWE and TNA that says, okay, Joe Henry wins the NXT title. Let's get together and work out a plan. Here's what Joe Henry does with the NXT title on TNA. Here's how long Joe Henry will hold that title. Here's what Joe Henry will not do in TNA with our NXT title. And when the time comes, this is who Joe Henry will drop the NXT title to back in NXT. Like, surely there could have been something worked out, written down on paper, legally obligating both companies to stand by their decision so one company wouldn't screw the other, and we still get kind of what I believe what the fans wanted in a Joe Henry NXT title victory. Maybe not. Maybe there is no way for two separate companies to work something out legally binding. You know, maybe WWE was afraid that if Joe Henry won the NXT title, he goes to TNA and someone does something funky or stupid, or, you know, somebody goes into business for themselves and, oh, well, now shit looks bad.
Yeah, but that kills careers. Like, you literally are putting a death knell on your career at that point if you do something like that.
Sure. I mean, I know, I get it, but, like, I can understand why there's that fear. Like, well, if we put the belt on him, what if he goes to TNA and does something stupid or something inappropriate or something we don't condone? You know, like, I'm just thinking.
What if he goes to TNA and throws it in a trash can?
Yeah, like, but shouldn't there have been a way for them to, like, okay, we both agree on this scenario and this storyline, this play-by-play. Let's all sign this document, making it legally binding. That way, nobody screws anybody else. It works out great for both of us. We're both happy with the idea and the plan. Execute. Maybe not.
No, and I mean, I can even give you a better tete-a-tete. Like, have Joe Henry win the NXT title, have fucking Wesley win the X Division title. Like, that seems like a pretty, like, good trade, right? Like, you're getting two really great athletes on different brands, exposure on said brands. You're getting both companies' belts exposed on both brands. To me, that was a no-brainer. And who knows? The debut on the CW looms. It seems like the Chicago show is going to be pretty good. They're already setting up Julia versus Roxanne at the premiere of NXT on CW.
Well,
So
don't
who
forget.
knows what could happen?
Don't forget. Before they move to CW on what is it? As of this recording, it would be. Is it next week? That's the USA week. Whatever week it is, where Raw, SmackDown, and
Yes, that's next
NXT.
week. Yep.
Okay, yeah. So Jordan Grace is going to be doing an open challenge on NXT. So I mean, yeah, there's still time for them to do what we're saying. I mean, it could happen. It could. But I understand the disappointment that it didn't. But it's
I'm struggling from a fan perspective, and just not from just like from a notoriety and a newsworthy perspective too. Like, aside from Kenny Omega, and like that's AEW, but as far as the WWE goes, I can't really remember the last time a non-WWE guy won a WWE championship. And I just think the buzz that would create would be so mutually beneficial. Like, if they could work it out, I just think it would be so mutually beneficial, and it would be so newsworthy and so buzzworthy. Like, the internet wrestling community, I think, would explode for the mere fact that how long has it been since a non-WWE guy won a WWE belt?
probably
Like,
not since Flair.
Yeah, I mean, this would be, ground shaking as far as the publicity, the talk that would get, behind it, the buzz that it would create. Man, I don't know. Like, I think, and again, like you guys have said, there's opportunity and hope still, but I think if we ever have picks in the future and Joe Hendry is slated in again for some sort of WWE championship title, like I'm picking him. I think I'm going to pick Joe Hendry until they stop putting him in title matches, because one of these times, damn it, one of these times they have to see, like, okay, this has got to be it. This is it. Especially if TNA is not going to pull the trigger on him. And I mean, hell, maybe it wasn't even I don't know. Maybe it wasn't even a WWE decision. Maybe TNA said, no, we don't want you putting we'll let him wrestle on your show. Like, we'll give him to you for no mercy. But maybe WWE even pitched the idea, like, hey, let's have him win the NXT title, and TNA said no. I don't know why they would say no. Again, I don't know why they haven't themselves pulled the trigger on Joe Hendry. Maybe TNA said no because they're planning on putting their belt on him, and they want, his first big win to be their title. I don't know. Like, I'm spitballing here. I'm trying to think of an idea as to why, aside from the fact that he's not a contractually obligated WWE talent. And that very well could be the reason. It very well could be. But, like, I don't know. Like you guys have said, like, the clock's ticking, like, he's not getting any younger. He's not getting any hotter. It's going to plateau here very soon. And once it does, you kind of have missed your opportunity.
And again, he's a great hand to have. But yeah, I mean, this is literally lightning in a bottle. While I would think that would be silly of TNA to say whatever, at the same time, the last 6 months haven't been the most man, TNA, they're doing a lot of fun things, but I also think that they're in for some trouble. Because yeah,
Please elaborate.
I think that there are a lot of Scott D'Amore loyalists there.
Uh-oh.
who weren't real happy that he got the fucking axe the way that he did. And Scott D'Amore has now started, I think it's Maple Leaf Pro. I'm not 100% sure of the name. But like already booked for that show. Let me see if I can pull it up. I know for sure one of them is fucking Takeshka versus Mike Bailey on the show.
Oh, some
Um,
bitch.
Yeah.
Are you talking about one
So
speedball Mike Bailey?
I am speaking of one
Motherfucker.
speedball Mike Bailey. Um
Well, that's it. Making me drink.
Yeah, so Takeshka's gonna be part of it. El Fantismo, Ginger Mahal, Giselle Shaw, newly free of contract Giselle Shaw, Kushida, um, Kylie Ray, if you remember her, Athena's gonna be there, Trevor Lee, aka Cameron Grimes. So like
Oh.
Mauro Ranallo and Don Callis are gonna be on commentary. Like yeah, Scott D'Amore's not fucking around. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that there's gonna be enough people that once their contracts are up in TNA, they're like, nope, we'll go wrestle for Scott D'Amore, or potentially better options.
Does Scott D'Amore have enough money to pull people away from TNA?
I think he's got sway.
I'm not incredibly familiar with him, so I don't know like what his bank is.
I mean, he's been TNA since like they were doing the fucking weekly pay-per-views, like way back in the day. He was like formerly the coach of Team Canada, and I think he was like a backstage role guy there too.
Like he was a part of TNA before they made the switch over to Impact, because like when they just
He was TNA when they were when they were still NWA, still I believe.
regardless, like he was
Oh.
it was him like kind of giving the big passionate like, TNA wrestling is back again or whatever. Whenever the name change happened again within the last whatever it was, this last year to 6 months, whatever it was.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and again, there are a lot of people that were upset about that. But to answer your question, Ransom, it's not like he's got. I don't think he's got levels of money that he's gonna be throwing out these big ass contracts to people or whatever. Like he's not gonna be pulling away people left and right.
See, I think exposure. So I think that this is the Jade Cargill argument again. Like, do you want money? Do you want exposure? Because I think that Maple Leaf Pro, again, just because of who he has as friends in the business, who he's done right by, and like who he's helped create careers for,
Right.
including one P.D. Williams, who is a WWE agent right now. So again, like Scott D'Amore draws a lot of water.
Oh, okay.
Like
I don't think I knew that.
if the mighty dollar is all that you care about, Impact probably is absolutely probably going to have the better bankroll because it's Anthem. But like again, like we're having fucking Don Callis on commentary. We're having one of the people that we mentioned earlier, fucking Konosuke Takeshka, as one of the like homegrown rising stars of AEW, like appearing at the first Maple Leaf Pro show. Fucking like much revered indie guy, fucking Captain Indie-rific, Mike Bailey, part of it. So like I think Josh Alexander's gonna be there. So like
So you'll get more exposure with Scott D'Amore than you will with TNA?
Depending on your level in the business.
Well,
I think
Okay.
marketed right. I think marketed right. Absolutely.
well,
Okay.
I don't think that there's a lot of like so this is gonna be on Triller, which is, pretty great. Triller. By the way, for any wrestling fans out there who are looking for like exposure outside of WWE, Triller Plus is a great thing to get into. I think it's like $9 a month or whatever. And like there's a lot of like shit that is just included in it. The big shows I think you have to pay extra for, but like all of the shit on WrestleMania weekend, I think there was one show I had to pay extra for.
Dude.
That was on Trailer.
And they were so good.
Yeah,
They were
so,
all
like,
so good.
Trailer, I think, is like. So this goes back to the argument of like, well, what's better, streaming or cable? Like, I don't think Maple Leaf Pro will have a cable deal in the U.S. At least not to start. But like, TNA has bungled streaming terribly. TNA Plus is the worst, one of the two worst fan services, ranking right up there with Ring of Honor, Honor Club.
So
Both of those are fucking jokes of fucking streaming platforms.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was actually sitting here like with like TNAWrestling.com pulled up, and I see watch on TNA Plus, and I was gonna ask because A, I don't have cable. B, I would like to, like, I know it's hard for me to keep up on the weeklies as it is, but if I had access to them, I feel like I would make more of a concerted effort. So short of having cable and actually being, if you're lucky enough to have access in whatever cable package you have,
Which is rare.
Exactly. Because it all depends on what provider you have.
Well, you know why they're on Access, right?
No, and I don't even know. Like, I don't even know if
the channel Access is owned by Anthem, who owns TNA or owns Impact.
Okay, so
it's basically the left hand rubbing the right hand and being like, yes, very good, very good.
yes.
So yes.
Yes.
So TNA Plus not worth it at all in your opinion?
As I recall, and it's been a while since I've checked into it, but as I recall, it's nothing live.
Okay.
I think you might get the weeklies after the fact. I think you get like the library.
Okay.
But I don't think you can watch the pay-per-views live. I think if you're a TNA Plus subscriber, you get like a little bit of a break on them. But it's not like a big break.
Okay.
And like to me, I think it's silly, thank you, to have a service like that where you don't have your pay-per-views included or included at like a much discounted price. New Japan World, for example. You sign up for New Japan World, you get it all, man. Like, you don't have to pay anything for any more.
So, now question to that. I think I've asked this before, and maybe things have changed, or maybe not, especially since, TV deals and streaming deals and everything like that were in the talks with AEW. In the U.S., there's not any sort of streaming service that AEW has for the weeklies or anything, correct?
No.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'll give TNA credit. At least they have something. I mean,
I think a lot of that is like, again, like your television agreements, and because Access is basically just saying, have this thing we bought you, but also we own you, so have this thing, us.
Yeah.
I think whenever you're actually dealing with like companies buying your shit, I think it's a different story. So Tony's been very vocal the last couple of weeks about the Warner deals. About the Warner deals going very, very well. It sounds like that's going to be how it's going to happen. It's just going to be a matter of time. I think the more that I want it to be a like, watch all of our pay-per-views live on HBO Max at no additional cost. But I don't think it's, for a fledgling company, I just don't think that level of like, here you go, is sustainable.
Right.
So I think that, especially not, for the attendance problems that AEW has had. So I think that it's probably going to be a deal where, if you're a max subscriber, you might be able to get the pay-per-view for $19.99 or like $20.99. You might be able to shave, $10-20 off of it. Or they could go the fucking route of ESPN Plus and fucking UFC and be like, well, you don't get UFC pay-per-views if you own ESPN Plus. However, if you want to watch a UFC pay-per-view, you have to have ESPN Plus. So you have to pay the premium for ESPN Plus in order to buy an $80 UFC pay-per-view.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
And Dana White wonders why people steal them and broadcast them. But don't worry. Dana White, as he's been saying for the past 4 years, is going to catch you if you are seeding one of his pay-per-views. He's going to prosecute you. Good luck, Dana.
So all the streaming talk actually leads me to an even bigger question. With WWE's moves that are going on, I'm wondering how things will shake out as far as, like, we know Raw is going to go to Netflix, but has that been said whether or not that's going to be live? Has that been confirmed, I should say? If it's going to be live, like, that's going to be like watch Raw live on Netflix as it's happening. So that's question one.
That is where Raw is going to be primarily viewed.
Okay,
it is going to be live on Netflix and nowhere else.
Okay, so that's question one. Question two: SmackDown is moving to USA. Currently, Raw and SmackDown are both available on Hulu. Like, day after, I think. I know at least Raw is. I don't pay as much attention to SmackDown as I should, but I know it's available on Hulu. So I'm wondering what will happen with that as far as their availability, and then also I'm wondering, because currently NXT is on USA, and then like day after it's on Peacock. When they move to CW, is that also going to be the same? Like, I'm wondering how that shakes out for the NXT side of things, with their stuff on Peacock or whatever. Because, not gonna lie, like, I mean, yeah, it sucks that I have to wait a day to watch them, but at least I have that stuff available. I would really hate to have to go buy like another streaming service and stuff like that, because after a certain point, like, when you get like these streaming services compounded on top of one another, you might as well just buy fucking cable again.
I don't have the answer to that question. I think that things are going to get fucky. Is probably what's going to happen. At some point, the CW is probably going to be like, "Hey, we'd like to have streaming rights of NXT." At some point, I mean, I think the SmackDown USA is probably not going to be an issue. Netflix and Raw, probably more so. My
I'd
big
probably.
question is
Oh, okay.
my big question is what happens with the premium live events coming down the chute.
That
Like,
too.
right now they're on Peacock, and that's a pretty sweet deal for WWE. But if Netflix is like, "Hey man, this whole Raw thing's working out great. We want to be the exclusive provider on premium live events," and what happens there? I'd be bummed because fucking Netflix is like $20 a month now. Peacock I get by on like 11. So like, I think that'd be fucking terrible. At least for me financially. But it's an extra $9 a month. It's not gonna be a thing I'm not gonna be able to recover from. Um, there are a lot of unanswered questions that this opens up.
And even more so, like, what happens to Raw in between the time of October to January?
So I think USA has committed to keeping Raw on the air until until they move to Netflix.
Oh, really?
I remember that being a thing, and then I remember seeing that USA was going to kind of like step it up and be like, you know what, you've been a great partner with us and are continuing to be a great partner with us with Friday Night SmackDown. Let's not ruin some shit by being petty.
Yeah, I mean, they're like it's. I don't want to be cliche and but it has been the longest weekly episodic running longest running weekly episodic television show for how long now? You know what I mean? It's like it's had some staying power for sure.
Right.
Which I mean, don't get me wrong, like it not that I'm upset by it because I have Netflix. So I'll still get to watch it, and now I'll get the chance to actually possibly watch it live if I'm not streaming or whatever. But like, it's oh my god, I lost my train of thought, lost my point. Never mind, fuck it.
I would have to imagine
Do live.
that nothing is going to be changing with the premium live events until some sort of contract with Peacock runs out.
Sure, and that's why I said down the line. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that this is kind of kicking that door open a little bit.
Well, I think it all depends. Like, if Raw does well for Netflix, maybe you get a bidding war between Netflix and Peacock for the premium live events. I would be surprised, I think, if Raw remains available on Hulu, strictly speaking, because if it's going to be live on Netflix, you would have to imagine that it remains on Netflix as a rewatch.
Right.
Like, I doubt it's going to be, well, live on Netflix, but if you don't catch it live, you missed it. I would imagine that, Raw on Hulu goes away once it goes to Netflix, just simply because if it's going to stream live there, why would it not be available for rewatch there? And why would you, like, well, I guess, like Beef said, if you don't subscribe to Netflix and you have Hulu, you go to Hulu for, the truncated Raw.
Well, and Hulu, Hulu has contracts with certain networks. They don't have everything.
Right.
They have certain networks, and I think Viacom is one of those networks that they do have deals with. And when it goes to Netflix, like Raw is not going to be on a Viacom Netflix, or Raw is not going to be on a Viacom station any longer. Ergo, I don't think that they're going to have that. So, yeah, I think once Raw starts on Netflix, I think it's going to be off the table for Hulu.
Right.
If I'm being honest.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'll have whatever back library of whatever they already have. I would assume. I don't see Netflix bringing the entire, Raw library, which, sorry, like this is just more questions and crap. I have a hard time understanding why we get, albeit a truncated version of Raw the next day on Hulu. We get WWE premium live events on Peacock, but it takes like a fucking month for an episode of Raw or SmackDown to make its way into the library on Peacock, where the majority of like the entire WWE, ECW, fucking WCCW, whatever, like all the AWA, all the fucking wrestling from back in the day, and the entire WWF to WWE library is on Peacock. Why, like, I don't understand why the fuck it takes like a month to get an episode of Raw onto Peacock or an episode of SmackDown onto Peacock when we have it next day on Hulu. I don't understand that. That still bothers me.
I think it probably also goes back to the deal that Hulu has with the networks. Like, it would make the deal that Hulu has with the Viacom networks kind of pointless when it comes to wrestling if next day it's going to show up on Peacock. It's probably some sort of contractual thing that says Peacock will get it, but it'll get it further down the line because if these networks have a deal with Hulu, well, we want people rewatching it on Hulu.
Right.
That's why it's available next day, and Peacock, it's going to be available further down the line. And as far as the library goes, like I think Peacock paid for the WWE network, which is the WWE vault. So that's why Peacock has all those like old things that you can just rewatch forever, because those were like the WWE network, the WWE vault. It kind of like came as a package.
Right.
Whereas the current product, which is still being shown on the networks, those networks have that deal with Hulu, which is why it's available next day, and Peacock subscribers have to wait for a certain amount of time, in order for it to be viewed there, because Hulu wants people streaming it off of their platform because they have those deals with those networks.
Yeah, it's just God. It's so damn inconvenient at times. Like I would love.
For subscribers, for us as subscribers, it'd be a hell of a lot easier if they were available next day on Peacock, because then, like if you only subscribe, like some people only subscribe to streaming services for certain things. And if you're one of those people that primarily watch wrestling on Hulu, and if you could get your next day wrestling from Peacock, which you already subscribe to for the WWE network, maybe you're tossing up in the air whether you want to keep that Hulu subscription.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, no. I mean, like everything you're saying makes sense. It's just, it was kind of more of a gripe session. Like I just wish it was all.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
like,
I wish it was. All
100% agree
place.
with you.
Yeah, I wish it was just like.
Yeah.
And
You mean kind of like cable?
Son,
It all
I don't
comes
wanna
back
hear
around.
your spiel for cable.
Okay.
I mean, sure. I'll
I'm gonna cable you into the past.
Sure, I'll pay so much more money for like 70% of the channels that I don't want to watch, because whenever I get home from work, the first thing I want to do is turn on fucking C-SPAN or something. Like fuck off cable.
Ooh, C-SPAN.
I don't know.
No, I hear you. It's
Sign me up for C-SPAN.
it is what it is. But I mean, people are piecemealing themselves to death. So
and that's why I said like it is a slippery slope, because after a certain point, like you buy this streaming, you pay for this streaming service, that streaming service, this streaming service, that streaming service. At a certain point, with he gone.
There was dollhouse attacks.
After a certain point, with the cost of each individual streaming service plus the cost of the internet to be able to run them, and you pretty much almost kind of price yourself back into having cable again or whatever. It's I mean, now I haven't looked much into I know there's some other, I would call them like pseudo cable services, like you have like Sling TV and
Sling Blade.
Yeah.
Things like that.
And taters.
Oh, yeah.
But so if anybody out there, all five of you that are listening, like if anybody has like Pat, if anybody has any insight onto that, like a good combination for catching the most wrestling product across the combination of like streaming services or anything like that, like I'm all ears, because I would love to be able to intake more. Like I'd love to be able to watch and see what's going on in TNA, because I want to see what's going on with Joe Hendry. I want to see how Nick Nemeth is doing as the champion over there.
Nikki!
Yeah, Nikki.
Can't wait for Raw to come to Hulu, or for Raw to come to Netflix. Oh, can't wait for that.
That I'm excited for that. Like I would love to be able to watch Monday Night Raw the same night instead of having to wait until the next day. Yeah, even if I'm not watching it exactly live, like even if I just catch the replay like after the fact, when I'm done
Yep.
streaming and I can fucking watch it as I fall asleep and drift off into dreamland, I'm good with that too.
Yep.
You know?
Yeet.
Yeet indeed.
Well, much like Okada's opponents this weekend, this is all TBD. Stay tuned, wrestling fans. One thing is sure, it's exciting and hopefully good for wrestling fans more so than bad. But we've been chattering on like chatterers do.
Do we
I
have
think it's time for the chattering to stop.
Do we have a Stump the
No,
Chumps?
we've been going for 3 months. We've been going for 3 hours.
That didn't stop us
3
last week.
months.
Come on now.
Yeah,
Look, man.
we don't have time for a stump the chumps. I'm making a command decision because that would be an easy another 20, 30 minutes.
You can call. I was gonna say you can call me Rorschach because Night Owl, calm the fuck down. I'm ready to go to bed.
I say next
So-
show we lead off with every Stump the Chump in our backlog that we have.
Yeah, man, as opposed to a pick
Yes.
show, we'll just do fucking Stump the Chump shows. So that means if you're listening, Pat, Ryuk, Dave,
Scooby,
get him
Amber,
in.
allegedly.
Scooby, Amber,
allegedly
that
Dave.
fucking that fucking guy who sent us the fucking brawl for all picks, get him in.
Fucking
Oh,
The
yeah.
intern.
Where's fucking Texas Heat at?
Yeah, where the old Texas Heat hasn't been for a while. Fucking intern man, Jared Listenerman. Where's my fucking coffee, asshole? Let's do it.
Wow.
Get your Stump the Chumps in. Let's fucking make it a thing. pittsburghpiledriverpodcast at gmail.com. 2 emails, one with the question, one with the answer. And the answer, make sure to type some lines in there. I don't even care if it's just fuck you beef written 87 times. That's not an invite, Pat.
Let's clarify,
don't see
lines
the-
of text, not lines of Tony Khan.
Exactly. Just so I don't see the answer in the preview window, because if I do, I'll see it. I'll know it. I'll disqualify you. You're done. I don't care. So do it. Make it
Damn.
fucking happen. Let's go. Poot! Send the people home happy.
Thank you for listening to the P3 podcast, everybody. All applicable links to all of our sponsors, all the lovely people are in the description of the podcast. If you are listening to it in the audio format or on YouTube, which is audio format, but with extra spice, you can go ahead and click on those and they'll take you to where you need to go. On Tiger Bomb Tom's merch page, which is over at Gould Gaming, you can get your very own Pittsburgh Pile Driver podcast t-shirt. It's great. You should go and get one. And they're high quality, and ours are customized. Yours won't be. Suck it easy. Thank you all for a really good discussion, really good picks. This has been a really fun quarter. This has been really, really good, and there will be many, many more to come. Thank you to my cohorts, Ransom, Beef the Legend, and Tiger Bomb Tom, and of course me, Poot the Bard. And remember, if you're hungry, rice is great. If you really want to eat 2,000 of something, bye, everyone.
Remember, even if we don't hear it on the podcast, it's on the recording.